Rochester.
If you're 55 or older and into that whole saving money thing, T-Mobile has an exclusive phone and internet bundle just for you. Right now, get 2 unlimited phone lines plus 5G home internet for just $30 each per month with AutoPay, plus taxes and fees. And with 5G home internet, setup is easy with just one cord and no technician needed, which is great if you're also into that whole keeping it simple thing. Switch now and experience the best mobile network in the U.S. Visit your local store to start saving. T-Mobile, it's better over here. Based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence data Q4 2024 to Q1 2025. Ookla trademarks used under license. Unlimited on our network. Customers on voice plan may notice speeds lower than other customers and further reduction if using more than 50 gigs a month due to data prioritization. Video streams and SD on this plan. Home internet pricing after $20 and monthly bill credits plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. See 5G device coverage and access details at T-Mobile.com.
WROC-AM, WBEE HD2 Rochester, and streaming online and in the Odyssey app at The Fan Rochester, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan Rochester, an Odyssey sports station.
It's time to start the show and talk about the sports we saw. Inside jokes and takes from Danger and Battaglia, Bills and the Sabres and the Ambers. Who gave a microphone to these jerks? Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. With Danger and Battaglia.
That is where you are. We welcome you into the sports bar, Danger and Battaglia. Glad you're with us and listening along at 95.7 FM, AM 950, the free-to-download Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps. Also, streaming live on Twitch and YouTube. Find us at The Fan Rochester. We're in studio today for the last day of this week. Tomorrow and Friday, we take this show on the road.
It didn't even hit me until you just mentioned that. Yes, tomorrow and Friday. This is one of the best weeks of the year, Danger.
It's a great week of the year. We're ready for it. We're going to be at Three Heads Brewing on Atlantic Avenue in the Neighborhood of the Arts tomorrow, as it's the re-release of the Nighthawks Hazy IPA. It's one of our favorites there at Three Heads, and to celebrate a new season of Nighthawks lacrosse, yeah, we will have Rochester Nighthawks in attendance as well.
Yeah, and for the Nighthawks, and we support all of our local teams, right? This is a new beginning. No more being in the shadows of the team in Buffalo that wears orange. This is back to having Rochester owned by somebody that has Rochester interests first and foremost when it comes to the Nighthawks franchise. So this is exciting. There's been some moves here. This team should be competitive. I'm not ready to say championship just yet. Certainly Buffalo, you have to respect them. But let's talk as the season right around the corner. And yeah, I'm ready for one of those hazy IPAs tomorrow, too. I'm calling on all our regulars to come out either Thursday or Friday, Danger. If you can't make it Thursday, we're also out Friday.
We'll be looking Thursday for Rylan Reese. A couple of Nighthawks players will be there. Dan Coates, some of our favorites, and also President and GM Dan Carey will be on hand as well. We invite you to stop out to Three Heads tomorrow. And then, of course, yes, Friday, Gino, we are going to be live on the road once again at Remedy at Finger Lakes Gaming and Racetrack Friday afternoon.
Yes, we'll be sampling their excellent food, and I'm sure our engineer Dylan will be off playing the slots. He won last time.
He likes his Wheel of Fortune slot. Oh, this is my favorite slot. This is my lucky slot. He's got a specific brand. I mean, you don't have to be that specific. You have over 1,100 video gaming options available to you if you like a little action on a Friday afternoon.
But if he wins at that one again.
Oh, now people are going to want to know, okay, which one is it?
Yeah. The gaming commission is going to want to know which one is it.
Well, let me tell you, Remedy is fantastic. The food is outstanding. Gino and I have sampled it the last couple of times that we've been there. I want to share it. I really think we should invite more of you to come out, hang out with us. We'll have a great afternoon, Friday afternoon at Remedy. We'll get ready for your sports weekend. We'll get ready for Bills and Bucks, and we're going to talk plenty of football here in the sports bar this afternoon.
Yeah, this afternoon we invite back in. He's the co-host of Jerry and Joe, I forget who called him Jerry, right? It was one of the national shows. Jeremy White of WGR, the morning show, Jeremy and Joe. He hosts that with Joe DiBiase, doing a fine job. Let's talk about the Bills. Let's talk about Josh Allen. Let's talk about, hey, the Bills are 6-3, but this doesn't look quite championship level.
And I get why this is happening, but I love seeing the Bills' championship window is closed. It's such a shocking statement that it makes all of the national headlines and it makes all of the national talking head shows. It's just a shocker. And you can't sell me on it. You cannot sell me on the Bills' window is closed. You cannot. Not when the entire league right now is as upside down as it is. And I'm not saying it's upside down and that bad teams are all of a sudden good, but just saying it feels wide open and it can be anybody on any given week. We were talking before we got in the air, and you asked me a simple question. What fan base is feeling good right now?
Right. Like, if you are a fan of the Patriots, you're feeling, oh, my gosh, this is found money. This is awesome. Ha, ha, ha. We're going to win the division. Okay, great. If you're a Patriot fan and you got your quarterback, you can puff your chest out, and even if it falls short of the pin this year.
They got their coach. I think that's the biggest thing. Jumbo Jonas is doing a great job as the head coach in New England, and I think that because they have that, they have reason to feel good, not just this year, but for years to come. The quarterback is playing well, of course, but having it all come together with the right coach. And, man, I'm going to upset some Bills fans, and I've said this before. I miss Diggs. I miss Diggs. I miss that guy. I miss the fire. I miss the electricity. I miss how he holds guys on his team to a higher standard. There was a story about TreVeyon Henderson, and TreVeyon Henderson referenced Diggs specifically because Diggs said, hey, star running backs in this league don't get tackled. I want you scoring touchdowns. Diggs is saying that to a rookie, and the rookie goes and runs for 2 touchdowns and blows up that game against the Buccaneers. I miss that guy.
I would also point out that the last half of the last season he was here, he was a ghost. So you miss the good parts.
Yes.
But it's like you think back to whatever relationship. You're filtering out all the stuff that wasn't good. I will listen to you because that element is missing on the Bills' offense.
That's
right
the point
now.
I'm making. The point I'm making is, is it Josh Allen? Because we believe that Josh is a fiery competitor. We see that Josh is a fiery competitor. He wants to win every play. But is he getting on his guys? Is he doing that? Because, and I've said this about Josh Allen from the moment he's been a Buffalo, can you be just a little bit mattable? Don't be a jerk. You don't have to be an a-hole. Your teammates don't have to hate you. But hold them to a higher standard. You saw Brady do it. You saw Manning do it. You saw all the great ones do it. I want to see that fire because that is missing. Who's holding Keon Coleman accountable? Who's holding Dawson Knox accountable? Who's holding Josh Allen accountable? Who's holding all of these guys accountable? There's nobody on this roster that has that kind of temperament that Diggs had at his peak with the Bills.
Who else is feeling good right now? To answer your question, Seattle.
Sure.
You're a Seahawk fan. You're feeling good. The Rams. I think the Rams are like a real threat to win the whole thing here. And it's fitting that on a week where Paul Tagliabue passed and Tagliabue carried on the legacy of Pete Rozelle, and Pete Rozelle wanted parity. That's what we have. There isn't a dominant team. The idea that the Buffalo Bills are a 6 seed and we're miffed about that, Kansas City's an 8. Baltimore right now is in 10th. Yeah. And now you have the Ravens. Lamar may not play against the Browns. Get to the dance and see what happens.
That's right.
But I can't tell you 100% sure that the Bills are going to be in.
This is the roller coaster ride that you sign up for when your team is competitive in the NFL, because some weeks they look like they could win the championship. Some weeks they look like they could miss the playoffs. But ultimately, you kind of take inventory of what you have. And I think if you're a Bills fan, I mean, this is a big game against the Bucs. I know it doesn't carry as much weight because it's an out-of-conference opponent. But I love what Perino said yesterday. I anticipate that they're going to be pissed off. I anticipate that what you saw on Sunday was an aberration and that they're going to rebound in such a way that it's going to make Tampa regret that they had to come north for this game, much like the Bills, and teams will struggle in the Florida heat. You're Tampa and you're coming here and you're beat up. I don't know if Bucky Irving is going to be out there. I know there were reports that he was spotted at practice today. That would certainly help Tampa, but they're a beat-up team right now. In fact, I've got Timmy Parmesan texting me saying the Bills will win easily because of how beat up the Bucs are.
Yeah, and this stat I found shocking, but I've been holding on to it. Entering last week, Danger, the team with the worst third down conversion rate on offense, dead last, 32nd Tampa Bay. They climbed a little bit. They climbed up to 25th, but I saw this also tweet from John Ledyard. John Ledyard putting out, and he covers the Buccaneers from now. We had him on before. The national narrative, people from the outside pump up this Tampa offense way more than people that cover this team. That Baker Mayfield, hey, like all that MVP glow in September, that is gone. Mm-hmm. He is struggling right now.
I'm a big Baker guy. Love how he plays. Love the fire. Love the competition. Love how guys rally around him. But if the injuries are too much, the injuries are too much. No Mike Evans, that hurts. No Godwin, hurts. No Bucky Irving, hurts. Defensively, are they going to be able to stay healthy? Are they going to be able to compete? Is Josh Allen going to have his way? The injuries have mounted up. I can't wait to talk later this week with Scott Reynolds from the Pewter Report to get his final take here on the Bucs as we get ready for this weekend. A game you'll be able to hear on the Fan Rochester. Our pregame coverage gets underway at 9 a.m. on Sunday morning. And while we're talking NFL, Gino, we should also mention that PJ Glasser on a Wednesday is going to join us just under an hour from now, slightly after 4 o'clock, the host of Send It In and Odyssey Sports Betting Insider. Insider calls are presented by BetMGM. Go check out all the latest lines today on the BetMGM app.
Yeah, it's the one time we also focus on college football. Texas, Georgia, Oklahoma now is in the play. They play Alabama. Yeah. So there's some good matchups. Certainly, PJ's wheelhouse, the SEC, Penn State at Michigan State. We'll also talk a little bit about.
You can join us anytime this afternoon on the Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub Wingman line at 866-4FAN, 866-4326. Award-winning barbecue from Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub, 135 West Commercial Street in East Rochester. GoodSmokeBBQ.com. Let's start with the Bills practice report from today, and that A.J. Epineza is apparently on his way to clearing concussion protocol, back at practice and practicing fully after missing the loss in Miami with that concussion. Both Christian Benford and Taron Johnson limited today. Dalton Kincaid and defensive tackle Fedarian Mathis, the only players that were absent from practice for the Bills. Bosa, Cam Lewis, Khalil Shakir, Shaq Thompson, Dorian Williams, all limited from today's session.
Okay, so limited is always kind of a fuzzy thing. We know Kincaid isn't going to be there. Getting Epineza back, who knew that Epineza was going to be such a big piece on this Bills defensive line? He was certainly missed, I thought, in that Miami loss. We also saw Mecole Hardman for the first time in Bills gear today, and you don't get to see the whole practice if you're covering the team, but in the portion that was shown, he's taking some punt returns. He's doing some other things, not wide receiver related. So remember, he's on the practice squad. He hasn't been in football for a while, and certainly he was a talking point here today.
Yeah, excited about that. It's, you look at position flexibility. He brings some of that, and the speed element is real, having gone against him, and so he hasn't played in a little bit of time here, so we got to take it one day at a time, albeit. But I'm really interested in seeing how he's going to help us.
That's Sean McDermott on the addition of Mecole Hardman to the Bills practice squad.
McDermott also giving one of the cliches of football: iron sharpening iron. Boy, if Mecole Hardman is the iron that needs to sharpen your iron, I think, that's not good.
What about Josh Palmer? Will we see Josh Palmer make a return from that injury?
Yeah, the reports that we've gotten from our medical staff have been just that he's looking like he's on schedule and ready to go. We'll know a little bit more today when I can get my eyes on him and go from there.
And with Dalton being out, it seems like a pretty important time for him to get back. Would you agree he's kind of important to get back at this point?
Sure. Yeah, agree. No, I mean, I do. Different position though, Sal, right? But yeah, I mean, it gives us speed on the field, which is important, and a guy that's had some production for us. I know he's missed the last few games, but it's good to have him back.
It is Wednesday,
Mm-hmm.
and we just talked about the shine coming off of Baker Mayfield in the 2025 season. Shall we play around? I've got 1:10.
Minute and 10 on
Sean McDermott on Baker Mayfield.
Ooh. We've got to set the ground rules on this one. Because you love Baker Mayfield, I think, more than most, right?
Okay.
So, I mean, what would we consider a lie, a super embellishment being a lie, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the lie detector is going to say here about Baker Mayfield. That's the question. He's a polarizing figure in the NFL, so I'm having trouble setting the over-under on this one. I'm going to say it's a lot of talking in circles. You're only going to get 6 in 1:10.
6 is where the line is set. McDermott McLies.
Very impressed, and happy for him. He's a heck of a player. It was kind of hard to watch when, the first situation unfolded the way it did, because you just have so much respect for him and his level of play and what he's capable of. And it's a great, to me, example of, I don't know everything, but just how the journey is the journey. And when you stick with it and you kind of get yourself in the right spot, and how he's played and his impact then, I'm sure, in terms of the example that he is even beyond the playing field, right, as a person. I hear stories about his faith and super impressed by that, and that's what you want to see, right? That's what you want to hear, and that's good for our league, and it's good for, I'm sure, the community down there as well.
What makes him so impactful? I'm not trying to compare him. I'm not sure if you can compare him to what Josh does, but what makes him so impactful versus what Josh does, I guess?
Yeah, no, I don't want to get into the comparisons. That's not fair to either of those guys. Both are great players. It's going to be a heck of a game Sunday, and you got two good teams and two great quarterbacks. So we have a ton of respect for their team, their coaching staff, Baker in this case, and it's a tough deal. So we got to prepare here.
Oh my gosh,
That's pretty
good. I'm fired. I mean, what? 16.
Wow.
16.
Crush the over. Man, he's just spewing lie after lie after lie. How can he sleep at night?
What an example.
That was 1:10, and half of that was eaten up by Warrow's question. We still got to 16. Amazing.
I'm in tears. I let everybody down that took the under on that. That was an easy over.
Now, I shudder to think it could be much better. I have an additional 60 seconds on Baker Mayfield.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, I am not. This is the Dan DeLorean doing the Lord's work today. Dan,
Wait,
our bounty hunter of the finest audio in the galaxy.
Time out. What more could we say about Maker? He's great. But lies. Okay.
Well, 60 seconds worth of more lies coming your way if you're interested.
All right, well, just based off of the last one, I'm going to say 8 in 60 seconds. Does that sound good?
This is Sean McDermott, also on Baker Mayfield.
Well, naturally, when you're with different systems, it changes. That's the obvious piece. Baker overall has always had a certain skill set. So you're always having to prepare for that, no matter if it was, back when he was in Cleveland or now in Tampa. So, and that skill set that he brings to the table is elite.
Mentally, attitude. I can't think of a better word than attitude. And I know that's a word that I think we agree on what the meaning of that is. Wherever understood this. Preparing for a quarterback's attitude. What is that like? Because some you do and some you don't. This guy, you do.
He's got it. Yep, he's got it. And we've got to bring that. If you want to beat him, you got to bring that. But even aside from, playing Baker, it's an every week thing. You want to be good at something, you got to bring a certain attitude and a certain passion and a certain commitment to the table. Whether you're a football coach, a football team, or, any walk of life, whatever job you're doing, no different for you guys, I'm sure. You got to bring a certain level of passion to the job.
Man, I'm ready to run through a wall. Wow. Sean McDermott, motivational speaker. Is he going to be the sequel to the Peyton Manning commercial? He's not just Sean McDermott. He's motivating McDermott.
There were 5, but the lie detector did not go off when he said Baker Mayfield elite. That should count for 5 right there. That's like quintuple, whatever what to say 5 is. Like what on earth? Elite.
Yeah, and he's a competitor. How do you deal with that attitude? How can you prepare for that attitude? We all should be lucky enough to have the attitude of Baker Mayfield. Just gonna be aggressive and gonna be confident and gonna get out there and sling it. Sean McDermott laying it on thick for Baker Mayfield. That didn't disappoint.
No.
Thank you, Dan DeLorean. We've got Amherst hockey tonight. Belleville, the opponent. That's exciting. We'll have that for you tonight at 7 o'clock. We'll also be joined later on this afternoon by PJ Glasser. On a Wednesday, we'll get you his favorite plays. Take a break here. It's a bunch of notes from around the NFL that I want to get to here, Gino.
I want to get to this, too.
Oh, tell me.
So that Boris quote years ago on the Phillies outfielder Bryce Harper. We got to find that, right? It was just over the top. Danger, believe it or not, I think we have a Boris quote that even tops that. The Major League Baseball owners convening in Vegas, and this is like the quasi of start to free agency in baseball, and baseball always gets off to a kind of a slow start when it comes to this thing, and Scott Boras going over the top talking about one of his clients.
Okay, yeah.
I'm going to submit mine to say, all right, is this actually more over the top when he talked about Bryce Harper?
I have the quote. This was the quote from Bryce Harper when Bryce Harper hit free agency, leaving the Nationals before signing with the Phillies. Well, certainly Harper's Bazaar has begun. It's fashionable. It's historical. It's elite. It's global, certainly. It's a process that's unconventional because you're dealing with a generational player. He holds the qualities of elite performance of the youngest age for a free agent in history to be available to the greatest number of elite teams. He also mentioned somewhere something about his hair. I'll get the abridged quote talking about hair and great shoes, but Boris has a tendency to pump the tires a little bit.
Oh, he's pumping the tires.
Okay. We'll get to that. We have some other NFL news and notes to get to as well, and we have time for your calls if you want to join us at 866-4326, 585-866-4FAN.
You're listening to the Sports Bar. Sports Update.
A.J. Epineza practicing fully today for the Bills as he looks to clear the concussion protocol. Also practicing fully was Josh Palmer. Christian Benford, Khalil Shakir amongst the 8 players that are limited today. We'll talk Bills next hour with Jeremy White, WGR. Hockey night tonight in the Flower City. The Amerks hosting Belleville. Mike Leone on the opponents.
I think when we skated, we pressured the puck and we're on our toes and we're direct with our game. And, we have the ability to be a really good forechecking team, how we skate. And I thought the guys did a really good job, so excited to see that hopefully translates to the game tonight.
Coverage begins at 7 here on The Fan. The Sabres continue their road trip. They're out in Utah tonight. That game you can hear on 96.5 WCMF beginning at 9. Gene Battaglin, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
They've raised the bar on Rochester Sports Talk. You're in the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
Gino, if only super agent Scott Boras could learn how to shamelessly overhype his clients. I would just like once for him to do his job.
You haven't seen this yet, have you?
No.
Okay, this is a treat. So there are plenty of free agents out there this year. Maybe there's not like the headliner. We don't get the Ohtani from 2 years ago or Juan Soto from last year.
You don't get the Bryce Harper from 2018.
Yeah, Harper. That was
Harper's
a big deal.
bizarre.
Yeah, that was a big deal. Harper Machado.
Inspirations that deal with great shoes and great hair.
There's an interesting call, though. This by the Mets, just to say, hey, you know what? We couldn't come to a long-term deal, so opting out Pete Alonso. Pete Alonso's on the market. Now, count me amongst, some Met fans that are like, you know what?
It's time.
It is time.
Yeah.
It's time. And I think that seeing this, Boras is going on the offensive because just if you looked at things in the 2026 bubble, well, Pete Alonso, he could still hit 30 home runs, but
Sure.
He's not a good fielding first baseman, and the skills are going to decline, and some team is going to be holding the bag on that. So he's trying to create a market for Pete Alonso. So he's the only agent that I know, by the way, that will schedule his own press conference and tell all the writers, the baseball writers.
Yeah.
So this courtesy of our friend Mike.
Can you
Puma.
imagine how much it must smell like a Chipotle at that press conference? Every baseball writer that goes to us, how much hot air is being circulated in that room for that press conference?
I would think they probably have a spread. Like Boras knows, to get his message out, he's feeding these guys in advance. So come for the buffet.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Maybe even an afternoon drink. You can enjoy a margarita or whatever. This is Scott Boras on Pete Alonso today. Quote, "There's no doubt Pete's pursuers are primed to pay the power piper. Pete picked a perfect period to play preeminently at a primary position. A playoff parched plethora will pounce to participate in the polar plunge."
He's fantastic. He's fantastic. How much do I love that? How much do I love alliteration? I love that so much. That is awesome. That is awesome. You know what? The skills are diminished. Some team is going to overpay for him, and they should, just based on what you just said. That's amazing.
Let me try to do this at the double speed. Ready? There's no doubt Pete's pursuers are primed to pay the power piper. Pete picked a perfect period to play preeminently at a primary position. A playoff parched plethora will pounce to participate in the polar plunge.
Well done.
No, I can't do that again. So
Well done. He's strange, but damn, that's good. Damn, that is good.
Do you think Boras is actually because I couldn't rattle that off the top of my head. I'd have to look at that. Do you think he's reading that off a card?
I think he probably rehearsed that. Yeah. He probably had that one ready to go, rehearsed it, memorized it, knew the beats. When he had to deliver the punch, he delivered the punch. Somebody's going to overpay for Pete Alonso, and they should, just based on what he just said. The production won't be there. But, if I'm an MLB GM and I hear Boras say that, sign me up. Yeah, whatever you want.
Oh,
absolutely.
No, Boras doesn't want to deal with the GM. That's an ownership decision.
Yes.
So look, what owner wants to show up and hey, I'm the new owner. I'm ready to overpay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it? The pay for the polar plunge or God, it's so good.
A playoff parched plethora will pounce to participate in the polar plunge.
A playoff parched plethora. So he's saying teams that are thirsty for a postseason berth will take the polar plunge and overpay for Pete Alonso.
He feels like an angel to me. That's what it feels like. Hey, that's we need to stay relevant here. If you're
you can go play with another guy that's not a winner. Yeah, I'm sorry. Mike Trout might be a great baseball player, not a winner.
You know, that always used to annoy me.
Am I wrong?
But you're in an environment where legitimately the PR director was getting his pitcher killed.
People are dying.
If you were about winning, you may you know what? Maybe you should trade me. No, you know what? The weather's nice out here.
Yeah.
I'm not getting bothered.
Yeah.
Pile up my stats and call me in the Hall of Fame.
That's right.
You know, you and I, if he does get into the Hall of Fame, we should go to Cooperstown, hold up a sign.
Not a winner. Yeah. That would be us. And what baseball writer will throw tomatoes at us whoa, boo,
Boo, boo.
Now, to you, baseball writer, I would say,
I'll hold up the sign. Stat compiler, you hold up not a winner.
Not a winner. Not a winner. Well, that's amazing. Boris does not disappoint once again. That I don't think it'll get as much run as Harper's Bazaar, because Harper's Bazaar truly was historic. I mean, what he made and that deal that got done was ridiculous. This is good, though. This is really, really well done. Just overhyping the hell out of his clients. Well done. Some notes from around the NFL that we can get to here, Gino, and you're always welcome to join us as well. Pull up a stool, as we like to say, 866-4326-585-866 4FAN is our phone number. We got word from the Bills today that AJ Epineza, back at practice after he missed Sunday's loss with a concussion. Benford, Taron Johnson, both limited today. We know that Dalton Kincaid did not practice for the Bills. Lots of limited participation today, whether you want to talk about Joey Bosa, Cam Lewis, Shakir, Shaq Thompson, Dorian Williams, all limited from today's practice. Other notes from the NFL that we'll get to here as well.
Yeah, it just took a call from Phil. He didn't want to come on the air, but he's like, hey, there's one move today. You guys, can you tell me anything about Morgan Fox? Here's my read on it. He's 31. He's bounced around. He's a former Ram, kind of like Michael Hoyt, and plays at this same position like Michael Hoyt, and was on the practice squad for Atlanta, last with the Chargers. Just feels like they're trying to find some sort of version of Michael Hoyt.
They need bodies.
Yeah.
And this is Chris Brown earlier on One Bills Live on the addition of Morgan Fox.
Fox is a 9-year NFL vet who has 15.5 sacks the last 3 seasons. Those last 3 seasons all played with the LA Chargers, also played with the Rams earlier in his career. Fox has been a little bit of a position flex player, defensive tackle, defensive end, and they're looking for guys that can play more than one position, as shorthanded as they have been.
Yeah. So you nailed it. That's a guy that you're bringing in to hopefully somehow replicate what Michael Hoyt was going to be, but we'll see. We'll see if and when he gets on the field.
I've never even heard of this college. So he didn't go to the D1 school. Division II, Colorado State Pueblo.
Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't know there was a second Colorado State school. I thought it was Colorado State, Colorado. I'm sure there.
Well, that's why there's a Division III school, Penn State Barron. So I don't know why some schools kind of spin off and do their own thing, but that's that's a McDermott sort of guy.
Oh, sure.
Like D2.
Absolutely. He's always had his back against the wall.
Yeah.
He knows how to compete. He's got that level of compete. He's got that attitude that Baker Mayfield has. He's got that same kind of, attitude that's hard to corral.
Well, this is interesting. So he just signed a 2-year, $8.5 million deal with the Falcons. He didn't make the team. That's interesting. Like they were just nope. So that deal he signed, it was a free agency March 14th, which, okay, that's relatively close. no other. He's been sitting out there since August. So.
Interesting. Well, all right. We'll see if the Bills found a diamond in the rough and if he can get on the field. But yeah, Morgan Fox added to the practice squad. Giants interim head coach Mike Kafka wasting no time in announcing who will be starting in place of Jackson Dart, who is in concussion protocol. It'll be Jameis. Jameis time is back. I'm so excited for Jameis Winston to get another NFL start.
If anything, Giant fans, this is going to be entertaining, right? You don't need Russell Wilson, checking down.
He's done.
I couldn't figure out, while the Giants season was hanging in the balance and you needed to go to a quarterback, I thought it was pretty evident, okay, if you weren't going to go with Dart, give Winston the start against the Chiefs. Or when Dart got hurt in a primetime game, hey, put Winston. He should be the number 2 on this team. Is that saying more about Dable, or does it say more about Russell Wilson, or is it?
I think I remember that Chiefs game, and I remember Dart. They should have went to Dart a half earlier than they went to Dart, right? Didn't Dart come in the half?
No, he didn't come in at all.
He started he should have come in.
He should have come in at half
because Wilson was terrible.
The game was there to be had. The Chiefs are farting around. If you could get anything going on offense, and I'm thinking, okay, if it's not Dart, you're not ready for the kid, you got to put in Winston, and you threw that game away, in my opinion.
Yeah, and honestly, seeing it with my own eyes on Sunday at Soldier Field, when Wilson entered the game, that's when I knew the Bears were going to win, and they were down 10 points. I'm like, they're winning this game. They're not losing. Russ has nothing left. Nothing left. He is immobile. He can't process. He can't throw. He's a sitting duck. He is nothing more than a hologram of what he was. I mean, this is it. I don't even know that he's a backup in the NFL anymore, because he had the opportunity on Sunday, and the Giants ended up losing, and the head coach lost his job.
Well, Bill Ryder had a doozy of a take this morning, and listen to him and Hickey, because they're saying, okay, will he ever start again? And no. No, not only should he not start again, he shouldn't be a backup. He should retire.
Agreed.
And look, anybody that wants to, this is my take. If you want to work, I'm not one to say go retire, but we're just pointing out that the longer you hang on as backup quarterback, bounce, what's your legacy? Is it the fact that you were on 2 Super Bowl teams in Seattle, or was it, hey, you were on 2 Super Bowl teams in Seattle and they won a championship in spite of you?
Yeah, I just imagine inside of Russ's bubble, everybody's still telling him that he's the best, that he's the greatest, that he can still sling it, he can still do it, he can still win. And it's the scene in Rocky where Adrian just says, you can't win. He can't win. He's not going to win. It doesn't matter. He can't back up. He should retire. I agree with what Ryder is saying, 100%.
He's uncoachable.
Well, he's going to do it his way, yeah.
Yeah.
At this stage, he knows more than Mike Kafka. I was refreshed to see that. I'm like, good. The NFL is more fun when Jameis Winston is starting football games. I'm not saying that the Giants are going to win. I'm just saying it's more fun. It's just more fun when that dude is playing.
Well, you like to see the world on fire, right?
Of course.
What if Green Bay loses that game?
Oh.
Don't say, we want to bitch about the Bills' offensive problems, and mind you, they've got some issues. But, Danger, last check, they're the 6th-ranked offense and still first in rushing.
Yeah.
What is going on in Green Bay?
Yeah. Jordan Love is going to get Matt LaFleur fired.
Matt LaFleur should be fired.
Yeah. He's going to lose his job. He can't lose to Carolina. You can't
lost to Cleveland.
Yeah. The game on Monday was, last Thursday's game was nearly unwatchable. And then you wrap it up on Monday night with another unwatchable game. Bookend unwatchable games for the NFL. They can't be happy with their primetime performances there to start Week 10 and to end Week 10. Jordan Love just hasn't been good enough, and that offense is struggling. What would happen? Injected into my veins. Are you kidding me? I still have my ears ringing of chants of Green Bay sucks through the mezzanine at Soldier Field. Just apropos of nothing, just out of nowhere. Random chants of Green Bay sucks from Bears fans. It was my favorite highlight of the game, just laughing at Bear fans chanting Green Bay sucks for no reason other than they hate Green Bay that much. Just they're obsessed. This is the kind of obsession that I want a team to have for their rival. I want the Bears. The Bears are so obsessed with Green Bay, and their fan base is so obsessed with Green Bay that they have to beat Green Bay and beat them again and again and again. And I think when the Bills were getting pummeled by New England for all of those years, all the Brady Belichick years, I mean, you know, we kind of just came to think, oh, here we go again, until you started to beat New England with regularity, and you could say, wow, the Patriots suck. This is great. The Patriots suck. No, they don't suck this year, but it was fun while it lasted. I want that rivalry. You have to have that rivalry.
Have we ever had anything like that? I mean, maybe like Kelly Marino, the Dolphins used to be that team, but nobody is just so. Right now, should be the Patriots. You could say the Chiefs, maybe. No, there's no. We really have to win this game above every other one.
Yeah, I'd like to see that rivalry get amped up a little bit. Not really a rivalry when the Bucs are coming to town. We'll see if Bucky Irving, the Bucs running back, will take part in Sunday's game. He was seen in the walkthrough portion of practice today in Tampa. He's missed the last 5 games with shoulder and toe injuries. That shoulder is still bothering him, according to head coach Todd Bowles. That would certainly be a boost for Tampa's offense, given what the Bills' defenses look like against the run. Putrid.
Well, if they get Shaq Thompson back, and we mentioned in the update, you have 8 players on the Bills who are limited. Okay, that's kind of murky. A lot of injury fog coming out of Buffalo today. Well, you had a player limited into safety, Taylor Rapp, who all of a sudden, hey, it's a season-ending injury, and you're going on IR, and he needs. I just think it's interesting that showing up today with an ankle injury is Terrell Bernard. We talked to Matt Perino yesterday. I asked him the question, hey, if all things are equal, I couldn't even finish the sentence. He said Shaq Thompson.
Yeah.
Shaq Thompson, where Bernard might just be really hurt right now, and that's a shell of himself. But if we're going to make bold moves, this is a bold move you got to make at the linebacker position, in my opinion. You at least give him a timeout. If Thompson's good to go, he's your starting middle linebacker. I don't think that's a hot take, Danger.
This from Indianapolis, and I wonder if Sean McDermott is on the phone right now with an Irsay, just saying, hey, this is my gig. You don't get to try out Shaq Lawson, okay? That's a guy that we traditionally bring back to our practice squad when we need him. Shaq Lawson getting a tryout with the Colts, former first-round pick of the Bills in 2016. I didn't even really know that Shaq was still out there. I guess we didn't hear that he officially retired, but if they like what they see, obviously Shaq Lawson could end up on the Colts practice squad.
Yeah, there was some scene, Hurdle Avenue, where there was a shooting, and it was a hookah lounge. Do you remember this? And Shaq Lawson was there.
Oh.
That was in 24, and so since that point, he hasn't been touched by the league. Now, nothing ever came of it. We had Shaq Lawson on the show, Danger.
Sure.
Do you remember the fun fact about Shaq Lawson?
His birthday is
June 19th, 1994.
What happened on June 19th, 1994? Let me scratch my brain a little bit here, see if I can dig up into my mental archives. What? 1994. Okay. Well, let me place where I'm at in my life. Let me mark some time in June. You said 19th?
1994.
You got it, Juice. When Chris and I broke up, the Juice was there for me every night. It's like he's not really the Juice anymore. We gotta get you dressed, Juice. Juice, a will? Juice. Come on, Juice. Juice, it's AC. Juice! AC's here! Juice, I heard Juice. It's on every channel. You know I feel the same, Juice. You're gonna tell them yourself, Juice. Juice, your whole family's here, Juice. She's on the house phone waiting to talk to you, Juice. Juice. Okay, Juice? Okay, Juice, we're good to go. You're home, Juice. You know Uncle Juice and your Uncle Juice. Uncle Juice is a good man. He's never going to stop being the Juice. It could explain a lot, Juice. Just hear him out, Juice. He's right, Juice. Listen, Juice. Hey, Juice, this is your life. Juice, please, Juice. Juice, we need an answer.
That's every instance of Ross from Friends as Robert Kardashian saying the word juice in The People versus O.J. Simpson.
If you go to my X page, and what do they call it, the masthead, the photo. So this is my buddy Nick, and he's sitting in the front row. And fun fact, like right next to him in the front row was Sal Capaccio, and he's pinned up against the wall.
Okay.
This was a game against the Jaguars, and this photo is it really is a fantastic photo. I'm like, can I use this? He's like, absolutely. It's Shaq Lawson putting Leonard Fournette in a headlock. Do you remember that game where the two are just, like, sometimes you get pushing and shoving. This was one.
Yeah, it was a fight.
And then racing in, you see the first guy in is McDermott like this trying to break this up.
Yeah.
Also, and there's, Edmonds is kind of like watching and looking at everything. But
that's what Edmonds does.
Yeah.
That's kind of what he does. Doesn't get involved. Just kind of stands around and watches it all happen. Well, that'll be interesting to see if Shaq Lawson gets another chance in the NFL, if he lands on the practice squad there with the Colts.
Do we have Sleepy Shaq Lawson in the library there by any chance?
Sleepy Shaq Lawson? I don't know what that is.
Oh, that was... So this is from... If you have it, I'll explain it. No? Okay. It's Duffy on Kimmy had him the night of when he was drafted. But it was one of those things they had to wait by the phone, and he literally fell asleep while they were talking to him. So they put the whole thing to a lullaby. Because, like, it was unusable, but they turned it into something. So
yeah.
I'll see if I can find that.
That's funny. Are you still holding out hope, Gino, that the next head coach of the New York Football Giants will be Bill Belichick?
I think hope isn't the right word. I think I'll be proven right. Mind you, the timeline's a little off there, but you don't think that the Giants ownership would look at Bill Belichick? You don't think Bill Belichick has already put feelers out to the Giants? Certainly he has.
I think
want to be coaching in North Carolina.
I think that ship has sailed, pal.
Okay. Maybe it has, but I need you to help me will this.
No, absolutely not. I will do no such thing.
I lost the bet. Okay, I said that Belichick would be coaching this league. Little did I know that NFL security is like, yeah, you know what? No, you don't want to go
as a child bride. We might want to avoid that guy and the press that brings. Weirdo. I'm even more confident because I got Vegas odds on who the betting favorites are to be the next coach of the Giants. Belichick isn't a part of this conversation. You know who the odds-on favorite is right now to be the next head coach of the New York Football Giants?
Tell me it's Brady.
No.
Is Brady on there just because of the Shane connection?
No.
No, they probably didn't cross paths. Just barely, maybe. Who would be the guys? That's somebody that we know? Is it current coordinator?
No.
Former head coach?
Yes.
John Gruden?
No.
The guy from Green Bay, Mike McCarthy?
Mike McCarthy is the early betting favorite at 7-1 to be the next football coach of the Giants.
That feels like a very Giant move.
You have two guys at 8-1, including current interim head coach Mike Kafka and Seahawks offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak. The idea of bringing in a defensive-minded coach when you feel as an organization like you have your guy. And by the way, Jackson Dart's taken a lot of concussions for his rookie season. This is not he's been evaluated.
Like they said 4 maybe?
He's been evaluated multiple times. And I wonder how much that had to go into the decision to move off of McCarthy. I mean, besides the whole not winning football games thing, like you're being kind of reckless with our potential future franchise quarterback here in his rookie season. But do you go with a guy like Kafka who's there and working with him now? Do you bring in somebody like a Clint Kubiak?
No, you're not. Like, when do we have the instance where, hey, the interim guy in the NFL did such a good job, you're the head coach? Like, even the guy I thought did a really good job with the Raiders, Biasaccia, if you're not the guy.
Yeah,
You move
true.
on. Like, it doesn't happen for whatever reason.
McCarthy, obviously familiar with the division, having just been the head coach in Dallas. Didn't work this year. God. I mean, there was a period of time there where I'm like, oh, my God, the Bears are going to hire Mike McCarthy. And I was kind of relieved that didn't happen. But Mike McCarthy didn't get hired by anybody, so does he get another chance?
I'm curious, is there a name on this list? Just because I would love the delicious irony. Brian Flores is doing a good job in Minnesota. Brian Flores did a very good job in Miami and got fired. Brian Flores originally sends the lawsuit against the NFL because he thought he was the guy for the Giants, but Bill Belichick texted the wrong Brian.
Yeah, that was
so could
fun.
Brian Flores become after all that, you're the new head coach of the Giants?
That was fun. Remember that? He sent Brian a text. Belichick trying to text is funny in and of itself, but then not knowing which Brian he's texting.
And then he signs the text, Bill Belichick. Yeah.
Old man signing a text. Fantastic. Let me see. I'm going to pull up who else is on this list here, Gino, if you give me 1 second. Those are the top 3 guys right now. McCarthy being the betting favorite. Kafka, Clint Kubiak. Those are all offensive-minded guys. This is a team that's also failed with former head coaches. They've failed with 3 first-time head coaches. They just haven't gotten it right since Coughlin.
1,400. New York Times listing the odds. I don't know what book has that. Again, this isn't anything you can bet on in New York State, certainly. For Flores. They're also listing Spagnuolo.
Spagnuolo's 9-1 if you wanted a defensive-minded head coach. And remind me, Spagnuolo, if I remember his resume,
the head coach was the head coach of the Giants.
He was.
Yeah.
Or was he the DC when Coughlin was there? Because I remember him being the head coach of the Rams. I don't remember.
Okay, I gotta look.
Now I'm thinking Spags maybe was a DC in New York, has some familiarity. 9-1 if you wanted to go on the defensive side of the ball. And if you're the Giants and you look at all the pieces they have accumulated on defense.
Okay, so you're right. He was the DC and then gets the head coaching job of the Rams. Laid 3 years with the Rams, and then
that's it.
He comes back for a second tour duty with the Giants, 2015 to 2017. Was actually the interim head coach in 2017
when they fired Greasy McAdoo. Right? Right?
Bob McAdoo.
Yeah.
Kind of a creepy.
Yeah. Greasy McAdoo.
Greasy McAdoo. All right. I think Spags should be right at the top then. You're a Giant fan. You don't want to go down memory lane with Belichick. I'm having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Go get the best defensive coordinator in the game
Do
today.
us a favor in Buffalo, Giant fan. Do us a favor.
Yes.
Go and get that guy out of the AFC. Get that defensive mind out of Kansas City and on your sideline. Let's do it. I like it. Quick break. We're going to come back. It's Wednesday in the Sports Bar. We'll be joined by PJ Glasser, the host of Send It In on the BetMGM Network. We'll give you some winners for Saturday's action in college football and Sunday's action in the NFL with PJ Glasser next on The Fan.
You're listening to the WPTF Rochester, the sports leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan, Rochester. An Odyssey sports station. The Fan, Rochester. Sports update.
Good news for the Bills today. A.J. Epineza practicing fully. He's still in the protocol right now, also fully practicing. Josh Palmer. 8 guys were limited today, including Christian Benford. Head coach Sean McDermott on the practice squad signing of Mecole Hardman.
Yeah, excited about that. It's, you look at position flexibility. He brings some of that, and the speed element is real. Having gone against him, and so he hasn't played in a little bit of time here, so we got to take it one day at a time, albeit. But I'm really interested in seeing how he's going to help us.
We'll talk more Bills football later this hour. Jeremy White from WGR will join us. Hockey tonight here on The Fan. It's the Amerks hosting Belleville. Don Stevens will be by with Andrew Mossbergs beginning at 7. Sabres tonight in Salt Lake City taking on the Utah Mammoth. Catch that game on 96.5 WCMF. Gene Battaglin, the sports leader. The Fan, Rochester.
It's time to start the show and talk about the sports we saw. Inside jokes and takes from Danger and Battaglia. Bills and the Sabres and the Amerks. Who gave a microphone to these jerks? Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. With Danger and Battaglia.
We'll talk Bills, Bucks with Jeremy White, co-host of Jeremy and Joe on our Odyssey Sports sister station, WGR in Buffalo. He stops by the sports bar in about 20 minutes or so. We appreciate you checking us out at 95.7 FM, AM 950, and the Fan Rochester, of course, streaming in the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, and TuneIn apps. Don't forget about our live stream happening right now on Twitch and on YouTube, our channel, The Fan Rochester. It is Wednesday in the sports bar. To steal a line from the host of Send It In and our Odyssey Sports Betting Insider, PJ Glasser, joining us now. And Insider Calls are presented by BetMGM. Go check out all the latest lines today on the BetMGM app. PJ, welcome back in. Appreciate the time as always. Looking forward to getting some winners. And we're going to start with college football and a team that almost pulled off the shocker of the season on Saturday. Almost, but not quite. Tell us about Penn State on Saturday.
Well, that's the key, Danger, is they almost won, but they didn't quite get there. And now after just another brutal punch in the gut, which has just been an endless one for Penn State this season, I don't know if they have any more left in them, guys. I kind of look at that game, the Indiana-Penn State game, as what we saw out of Florida the last 2 weeks, right? Florida fires Billy Napier, go into their bye week, Super Bowl against Georgia. They get up for that game, winning in the fourth quarter. Georgia comes back and steals it from them. And then the following week, they go on the road to play Kentucky, and they lose by 30 points. DJ Lagway gets pulled in that game. I kind of think it's the same type of handicap in this game where if you're Penn State, obviously the season hasn't gone the way you want it to, but you have the number 2 team in your building. You have them on the ropes. That was supposed to be their moment where the season hasn't been going like we wanted to, but at least we got this win against Indiana. They lose in the final minute. Now you go on the road to play Michigan State. I think it's a letdown. I don't know if Penn State has any more left in the tank, fellas, so I'm fading them. I'm taking Sparty plus 7.5.
Wow. Who would have thought, by the way, Michigan State, Penn State, a combined 0-12 in conference play.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, both of those teams you could argue like bottom 5 programs.
It's just been just a wild year here. On the other end, in that same conference, PJ, you've got Iowa heading to LA to face USC. Both teams at 5-1 in conference play, and I'm looking at this, and what I'm looking at is a line Trojans by 6.5. I'm thinking, well, the way Iowa plays, is that too generous? What's your thought? What are your thoughts on this matchup?
Line feels about right to me, guys. I'm actually going to take the over in this game. I know, over in Iowa in the same sentence. What could go wrong? But the key is that the game's being played in L.A. And, I come on every week with you guys, and we've talked about USC, and it's really just as simple as when they're at home, you bet them. They score points. They usually take care of business. When they're on the road, that's when they just look like a completely different team. So even though Iowa's always going to have a good defense, we know what they are under Kirk Ferentz. USC's offense is just a different animal at home. I think they're going to be able to score. On the flip side, USC's defense has struggled this season, especially against the run, and we know that is what Iowa wants to do. So I do actually like there to be some points in this game. I think 49.5 is a little too low. I see this being like 31-24, 30-27, like somewhere in that range. So I'm going over 49.5.
PJ, we have a couple of really great marquee matchups in the SEC with postseason implications, and we'll start with Texas and Georgia. Which way are you leaning here, bud?
Taking Texas, fellas. I don't know if they win the game outright, but I definitely like them plus the 6. It's funny. Going into this game, I think people, they just kind of think Texas stinks, right? Because coming into the year, they were the preseason #1 team. Arch Manning was supposed to be the next big thing. And because of that, they haven't lived up to expectations, and now people just think they're not a very good team. They've lost 2 games this season. The first game was to Ohio State by 7. And now looking back, it doesn't look like a pretty bad loss. And then also they went to the Swamp and lost to Florida, which is a tough place to play. Now they go up against Georgia where their season is on the line. And, guys, Georgia is just not the same Georgia, man. Like, their defense is not what it's used to under Kirby Smart. And they lost to Bama. They could have lost to Florida, trailing in the fourth quarter. They were down 10-0 to Auburn before Auburn fumbled at the goal line, and that game got away from them. Georgia should have lost to Tennessee. They were down in the fourth quarter to Ole Miss. Like, Georgia's been playing with fire this season. They've been finding ways to win these games, but I just think 6 is too many points. So I like Texas behind their defense to muck it up and keep this one within the 6. So I like Texas. I don't know if they win, but I think they cover.
Late afternoon window for TV here. Fun matchup. Oklahoma going to Tuscaloosa. And I think it's 2 teams at 2 different tiers, right? Alabama, they're thinking, hey, we should be getting the bye. We should be a top 4 seed. Oklahoma, right now, they got a real chance at getting into the playoffs. So this game, PJ, which the over-under only set at 45.5, I'm looking at the Crimson Tide 6.5-point favorites. What's your feeling on this matchup?
So another game, guys, where I think Bama wins, but I would take OU plus the points, and I also like the under, Gene. I'm glad you mentioned the total. My big takeaway from the Bama-LSU game last week, Bama won 20-9, okay? And I think Oklahoma and LSU, they profile pretty similarly, where their defenses are very good, and they've struggled on offense this season. So what does Bama do? They don't make any mistakes. They play a very vanilla game. They really don't try any trick plays. They don't do anything that'll give LSU any kind of momentum. They try and make LSU beat them, and they see if their offense can beat them, and the Tigers weren't able to do that. Well, Oklahoma is obviously a better version of LSU. That's why Bama was 10.5 versus the Tigers, and now they're only 6 versus the Sooners. But I think it's going to be a similar game plan. Oklahoma was able to go into Knoxville a couple weeks ago and beat Tennessee because the Vols turned the ball over 4 times, and they only won that game by 6. So I think Bama's looking at the same thing. If we just take care of the football, if we don't make any mistakes, if we don't give them any extra possessions, we should be in a good spot. But when you play a game like that, it's probably going to be close if it's low scoring and it's going to be 1 possession. So again, Bama win, Oklahoma cover, and I would look at under 45.5.
All right, PJ, you're one of my favorite Baltimore people in the world. I was at the Bears game on Sunday, and all across the NFL, they were paying tribute to the former NFL commissioner. And my friend from Baltimore sent me a message while I was at the Bears game that I thought you might appreciate. This is my Baltimore friend, Andy.
I'm Paul Tagliabue, home.
It's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Thank you.
Paul Tagliabue. I like that. That's sensational.
Shifting gears to the NFL. Let's start with the Steelers and Bengals, PJ. Which way you leaning?
Well, Steelers and Bengals, you know what that means, fellas. We got Joe Flacco in this game, and that's where we're going with Cincinnati plus 5.5. I don't think people realize, like, this is a sneaky, massive game this weekend in the NFL. We got some really good ones, right? Chiefs, Broncos, Seahawks, Rams, Eagles, Lions. But this game, you guys, right now the Steelers are 5-4, Bengals are 3-7, and the Bengals already have that win over the Steelers. If they can win this game, and get to one game back with the tiebreaker, and they still have to play the Ravens twice. We got the news that Burrow is back to practice. I just think this is a game coming out of the bye week where Cincinnati is going all out. They know that even though it's 3-7, they have to win this game. The difference between being one game back of the Steelers and the Ravens with the tiebreaker over Pittsburgh to being 3 games back is just, it's everything. It's their whole season. So when you get a team like that in a situation like this, divisional game, that many points, I'll take the Bengals and just hope and pray the defense can get enough stops. But we'll roll with Cincinnati. I've seen plenty of time Joe Flacco go into Pittsburgh and play well, so I'm hoping he can do it again.
Yeah. By the way, Paul Tagliabue, I did not know this. He actually resided in Chevy Chase, Maryland, in his final year. So he's one of you, PJ.
That's right.
So that's why we're going to bring that up. PJ Glasser, your host, is sending in on the BetMGM network. PJ, it used to be, there's a question about a quarterback status. Pull it off the board. That doesn't happen anymore. It's very rare something like that happens. So Ravens and Browns, and we get this report today that, Lamar didn't practice. He might be banged up. Again, a lot of injury fog in the NFL, and it's only Wednesday. So is that enough to stay away from this for the time being? What are your thoughts here on Ravens and Browns?
Yeah, the Browns are my favorite bet of the week, boys.
Wow,
I've seen this story. Look, I don't have to tell you guys or your listeners
They
what
play the
happens
Ravens
when you go
tough at home, don't they?
They always do. Guys, the Ravens haven't swept the Browns since 2020. They always play them tough in at least one game every year. And when they played back in week 2, the Ravens blew them out. So this is going to be the close game. And look, Cleveland might have the best defense in the NFL when they're at home, right? They haven't given up more than 16 points at home this season. They upset the Packers. They smashed the Dolphins. And then Joe Burrow had 4 passing yards in the second half of that week 1 game, and they probably should have won that one too. So Cleveland's good at home, man. And with a game like this, mid-November, Lamar missed practice today. Maybe the hammy's acting up again. I'm just telling you guys, it's going to be close. And also something in the NFL to look for. You don't get these spots a lot, but teams that go on 3 straight, when they play 3 straight road games, you normally want to fade them until they don't cover a spread. Ravens have covered their first 2 road games against the Dolphins and the Vikings. So I really like Cleveland, fellas. I'm telling you, I'm nervous the Ravens are an upset alert. I think they probably win, but I'll take the A with Cleveland all day.
We know that Andy Reid is historically great coming out of the bye. The Chiefs are facing their divisional rival in Denver on Sunday, PJ. Does that streak continue for Andy Reid?
I think it does. I think KC money line is probably the best bet of the weekend. Now, you have to lay minus 200. So if you want to parlay it with like the Patriots on Thursday night, or maybe you want to pick one of those college favorites on Saturday, I think they cover the 4. If I had to bet it, I'd probably lay 4. It's a divisional game. We know Denver's got a good defense, and Kansas City, obviously sometimes they play with their food and they don't cover games, but I definitely think they win. I would probably lay the 4. That line has probably got a little bit inflated just because of what you said, Danger, the narrative around Mahomes, Andy Reid out of a bye. The Broncos are 8-2, but we're kind of all identifying them as frauds. So the line's getting schemed up. It feels like 3 is a good bet on KC. Now that we're getting to 4, that's kind of, you're paying a premium at that point. So, look, if I had to bet it, I'd take KC, but I think just betting the Chiefs money line, that's the play. I think they win that game on Sunday.
Well, thank goodness we have Sunday night, because Thursday night football, Jets, Patriots, Monday night, Cowboys, Raiders. We get the Lions and Eagles on Sunday night football. Detroit getting 2.5. Philadelphia coming off a win, but everybody's kind of in a pissy mood. The offense, the fan base, it just doesn't look quite right with Philadelphia. So, PJ, from a betting standpoint, how do you play this one?
I mean, you guys know these are the kind of games I live for, right? You already know I'm taking the Eagles in this kind of game. I mean, look, this is just, for me, like, this is classic NFL. You get the Lions, who are that sexy eye candy that everybody loves, with all those weapons and all those toys and all the points that they put up. And the Eagles are that gross, ugly team that just find ways to win games. And it's similar to when the Lions played the Chiefs on Sunday night about a month ago. same spread, Kansas City at home. They were giving you the Lions as a dog. Everybody was on the Lions. The Chiefs, they win and they cover the game. I think it's going to be the same thing with Philadelphia. So, look, I mean, Monday night was ugly. There's no way to go around it. The Eagles' offense definitely has a ton of issues. But, yeah, I mean, the fact that Philly was a 1.5-point favorite, it's gone up to 2.5-point favorite. I mean, the Eagles would be the side to me in the game. So I do like Philadelphia.
PJ, the game we've spent the majority of time talking about this week here in the sports bar between the Bucks and the Bills. And we have a sense that the Bills are going to be playing pissed off after they showed up the way they did, or they didn't show up the way they did in Miami. What are your thoughts on Bucks Bills?
Man, I have no idea what to do with this game, you guys, to be honest with you. And I'm sure you're probably feeling the same way, where it's like the Bills maybe lose outright again or they win by 20 points. And I don't know if there's any in between. So it's a tricky game because Tampa is definitely one of those teams that you want to start fading. I mean, we could all see it coming. Like, they just could not continue to win games the way they were winning. Obviously, the injuries that they still have. And now that their schedule's starting to get harder, we've seen them lose to the Lions. We've seen them lose to the Patriots. And like you said, they're getting the Bills off of a terrible performance against the Dolphins, and you would expect Buffalo to be ready to go. So I don't know. I mean, the Bills have been such a week-to-week team this year. You know, I mean, they look great one week. They look terrible the next. And I think coming off that bad of a performance, I would expect them to play better. And with Tampa being a team that I just want to continue to fade, if I had to bet it, I would probably look at Buffalo. But to be honest with you guys, this is a game I just really don't want any part of with these two teams.
Well, thank you for being honest on that, PJ. PJ, tell our audience about Send It In, where they can get more of your content.
Yeah, guys, send it in. You can check it out 1 to 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Mondays through Fridays on the BetMGM network. You can watch us on Twitch, on YouTube, on X, and we talk everything, NFL, college football, college basketball. So great time of the year now in November, and hopefully continuing many winners on the show.
Appreciate your time, PJ. Let's do it again next week.
Thank you, fellas. Always appreciate you. Paul Tagliabue. I'll see you next week.
PJ Glasser, Send It In on a Wednesday here in the Sports Bar. We have Jeremy White, Jeremy and Joe on WGR joining us next. We'll continue to talk Bucks Bills here in the Sports Bar.
You're listening to the Your home of the Buffalo Bills. The Fan Rochester. The Fan Rochester. The Fan Rochester. Sports Update.
Some good news on the injury front for the Bills. A.J. Epineza today practicing fully. He looks to clear the concussion protocol. Also practicing fully, wide receiver Josh Palmer. Christian Benford amongst the 8 players that were limited today. We'll talk some Bills football coming up next. Jeremy White from WGR joining us. Hockey tonight in the Flower City. The Amerks hosting Belleville. Mike Leone says it's more about his own team than the opponent.
I think when we skate and we pressure the puck and we're on our toes and we're direct with our game, and we have the ability to be a really good forechecking team, how we skate. And I thought the guys did a really good job, so excited to see that. Hopefully translates to the game tonight.
Coverage begins at 7 here on The Fan. The Sabres tonight in Salt Lake City against the Utah Mammoth. You can hear that on 96.5 WCMF. Team Taglin, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan Rochester.
Neat or on the rocks? It's the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan Rochester.
Let's talk Buffalo Bills football with Jeremy White. Jeremy and Joe, you hear them mornings on WGR, our Odyssey Sports sister station in Buffalo. You said something earlier on your show this week, and it's been rattling around in my head. I just thought it was like a Jerry Maguire moment where I know it's not popular. What you're thinking to yourself as you're about to say this, I know this isn't going to be taken well, but who is holding guys accountable on this team the way Steph Diggs is holding his teammates accountable in New England? And when I heard you say that, Jeremy, a light bulb went off, and I said, you know what? I know that it wasn't always great, but I kind of miss having somebody like that in this locker room.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, I kind of said that this week because I just seen a couple of clips of what Diggs had done in their game. A huge touchdown catch. He fields the onside kick to seal it. The rookie running back credits Diggs with being hard on him. 4 things in a row that kind of hit me. I'm like, man, the Bills don't really celebrate guys like that right now, or we don't have a guy like that to talk about. And it kind of went in conjunction with something that somebody else said to me, Joe Marino, who does the Locked On Bills podcast. He said that if you think back to when the Bills beat the Ravens and the Bills did like their sideline thing, Josh Palmer, who's new to the team, he's like, when do we get this thing going? And Shakir said some version of like, the second half, like Josh will get it going. And like looking back, in the moment, that's really cool. Looking back, it's like, is everybody just waiting for Josh to do stuff? And whatever. Like we all kind of put our own spin on what happens, but that stuck with me. Like, yeah, maybe the team is a lot of guys that are just really happy to be around Josh, and he's great, and he is. And someone to push him and to challenge him could be a good thing again. And I think Brian Dable may fall in that bucket as well. So it's it all kind of weaves together. We're all trying to find ways to see the Bills win. They're trying to find ways to look a little better. But yeah, I think there's something to all that. Like, who's there to push them to the next level?
So I'll follow that up, because the thought that immediately crossed my mind is you don't need a guy like Diggs because you have the guy who's supposedly this ultimate competitor in Josh Allen, and we know he's a competitor. We see him compete. We see him do miraculous things on the field. But what I still haven't seen out of Josh Allen, it's not he's not an a-hole. He can be madable. I want to see him get madable the way Peyton Manning would get mad at his linemen or his receivers, or Brady, certainly. Like, the great ones all have a bit of a dark side, and I'm wondering if Josh is capable of having that in order to kind of take that leadership to the next level.
Yeah, it's a fair question. Today at his press conference, Sean McDermott was talking about Baker Mayfield, and Baker would have been a player that the Bills vetted greatly in the draft process. And, we have all heard stories of who they liked in addition to Josh, who they might have taken, who they might not have taken. And I think they liked Baker quite a bit, but maybe they wouldn't have taken him, but they probably liked him. And I think McDermott probably really liked Baker. When he was talking today about Baker Mayfield, who the Bills will play this week, he started talking about fiery competitor. You got to have that consistent fire all the time. And it sounded like, to me, I'm going to bring this up tomorrow on the show. Like, is he talking to anybody here? Is he talking to a receiver on the team? Is he talking to his quarterback? Is he talking? Because he's just really pointing out how Baker has that exact attitude. He plays with such attitude. So, he's not as good as Josh. He's not as skilled as Josh, but it seems like everybody's ready to, like, jump up for Baker. People just do whatever they can for him because of the way that he plays every game. So I think it's interesting. I think we're kind of getting to that moment here. And when Josh is out there, earlier this month or last month saying his grandmother told him to smile, like that's another indication. Like people are looking at you and thinking something seems not right. Whatever it might be, something seems not right. Whether that's a fun, jovial smile and like the Joe Montana noticing John Candy's in the stands before throwing the game-winning touchdown pass, or if it's Peyton Manning screaming at an offensive lineman. Like there are different ways to do it, but I think, the general feeling of what he looks like out there feels off.
We're talking to Jeremy White, Jeremy and Joe, or Jerry and Joe. I forget who coined you that.
The real ones know Jerry and Joe.
Jerry and Joe. Jerry, it's still surreal to me that in the discussion, there's Mina Kimes giving you credit yesterday when it comes to the Bills' skill players. And I guess what's done is done, but is there any solution? Are we hoping that Gabe Davis somehow appears and you're seeing Gabe Davis from the AFC Championship game? Are we hoping that Mecole Hardman offers something? I mean, where do the Bills go from here in terms of this receiving core in 2025?
I think if they get Gabe Davis and Josh Palmer lined up on the outside, it might be the best receiving core they've had all year. I mean, a couple things. Palmer, when he's out there, he can play. I mean, he's not an incredible player, but he can play. He to me is a good enough receiver that can be, one of your rotational receivers. And if Davis goes to the outside and replaces Keon Coleman, I mean, Davis was a limited player. We know that, but he made plays. And the difference to me between Gabe and Coleman is that while Gabe might have been limited, or we would say he's not a true number two, he's a good rotational piece, whatever. Like Gabe was a number two for a little while for the Bills, and he had a lot of production, and we never said Gabe was out of position. Right? We never said Gabe needs to be in a big slot. Gabe was just a guy who played outside and had some verticality to his game and was a little boom or bust. And that's okay. I didn't think they should have brought him back. But the idea of having him back again for very little to no money, like it does seem to me to be a good emergency plan. And yeah, I mean, is it the best idea in the world to have him be the next man up? Probably not. You might prefer Chris Olave, Jalen Waddle, whoever they might have traded for, or a draft pick 3 years ago. But, the roster is the roster, and now post-deadline, you kind of got to do whatever you can. And I kind of do think that Palmer and Davis on the outside might be the best pair of outside receivers that they could possibly field this year, which is not saying much, but, it might be an upgrade.
I love that we have the wide receiver conversation, the offense conversation, because it feels like it masks what might be a bigger problem on the defensive side of the ball that we'll talk about in a little bit. But before we get to that, Jeremy, I know that there's a lot of criticism being thrown the way of Joe Brady. And when I watch the Bills offense, this is like, to me, the ultimate eye test versus statistical, analytical, debate that you could have. Because when you watch the team, you see an offense that doesn't necessarily look altogether coordinated. But statistically, you're number 2 in total yards per game. You're the best rushing team in the league. And I know that we shouldn't settle for that when you have a howitzer behind center. We'll talk about the defense, but what about Joe Brady? What have you seen when you're breaking down film and you're talking to guys who are breaking down film about this? Is it all about the wide receivers? How much blame do you put on Josh Allen in terms of this passing game not being able to get going?
Yeah, well, it's funny. Like I started to this year, I kind of in looking for a way to talk about a thing I've been working on, which doesn't make much sense. But I've been saying lately, like the score of a game does not tell you whether or not it was a high-scoring game anymore, and it doesn't make sense, right? Like that sounds ridiculous. But how do the Bills and Chiefs play 24-20 games all the time? And 28-21, you expect all these shootouts. And this is a tangent here, but just follow me for a minute.
You got it.
Anyway, what I was getting at was just like we expect high-scoring good offense to be 40 points. And in reality is when two good teams are playing, that's not what happens. What do the Bills get 40 on? They get 40 on Carolina. They get 30 on the Jets. Like when they can lean on a game, it spins totally sideways and they get their points and their yards and they rack it up. But when you're playing a game against the Lions, although last year that was a shootout, the Lions and Chiefs played a game this year. The final score was like 30-17, and that was efficient offense nonstop. Like everybody's back and forth. Teams are going for fourth downs more often. And the way that I got to finally understanding what I was trying to say was, in NFL history, like the highest scoring season, people tend to look at points per game for that, right? Points per game. Oh, what season has the most points per game? And I looked at something else. I looked at points per drive, possession. And if you do that, this right here is the second highest scoring season in 30 years, this season right now, because teams don't punt anymore. And offense is so efficient, and you bleed the clock, and you can now run the clock with efficient passing games like the Bills do. Mm-hmm. So good teams now kind of like use these efficient drives, and what that ultimately leads to is these crooked scores for the Bills where it looks like they're dominant, and I just don't think they really are. And the second stage of that is, if I could keep going, sorry, long answer. The second stage of that is, to me, it's like stroke play versus match play. The Bills are great stroke play players. Hey, don't turn it over, have a good run game, and guess what you're going to do? You're going to win a lot of games, and that is true. You're going to beat a lot of bad teams, careless teams, bad quarterbacks, just, teams that aren't on your level. And then when you get into a game where you need match play, where you're playing someone like Kansas City, who they beat some in the regular season, or you're playing a team like maybe the Bucs this week, or maybe the Ravens, it's a totally different game. So I hear all like, they're number 2 in this, they're number 6 in this, and I think that might sound good out of 32 teams. But when you're talking about a Josh Allen-led offense, I really should only be talking about 6 other teams that can even dream of being as good as he should be. So if you're 4th, that's not good. Like, that's not good enough to me. You be better than almost everybody else. When I see Sam Darnold leads the league in 10 yards per attempt, I think, there's a system there that is helping a guy get to a level that I need to be at. I mean, I have a very high standard for the Bills offense. I always wanted to be as high. So, like, I see this offense, and I think, wait a minute, you have an amazing run game, a perfect offensive line, and yet when I watch you can't throw the ball? That doesn't even make any sense. You're supposed to be able to be multidimensional, right? Sean McDermott wants to be two-dimensional, and yet it's missing. So if the pass game wasn't working and the run game wasn't working, you'd say, like, oh, well, everything's bad. How is it that it can't work even when you have this massive edge in running the ball? So I think the eye test tells it, and I think the stats sometimes are kind of baked in to make it look better, but they definitely have a problem, and they would say so themselves. And the GM tried to make a huge trade, so, like, I think he sees it too.
Yeah. Jeremy, before we jump over to the defense, the Dable question here, and look, we could debate the pros and cons of it. I've come around on this. I'd entertain it if for nothing else, just to get Josh in a good headspace that he does have that relationship. It's interesting to me because 5 years ago, McDermott, you wouldn't even entertain this. Would this kind of signal even more so a change here with McDermott? Where do you come down on the idea of bringing Brian Dable in this season as some sort of consultant, assuming he wants to work here?
I don't think it's realistic this season. If it happens, that'd be fine by me. If you want to apply the same kind of logic they do to players, why did Jordan Poyer come back? Well, they were unsure about their safety room. And while Cole Bishop might think, oh, this guy's going to help me, it was also a little bit of, he also might take your job. That happened there. That happens with Gabe Davis. That happens with Jordan Phillips. Guys that know us are going to come back and help everybody. And if you're not good enough, they're going to take your job. So apply that to offensive coordinator, you could do it. I do think it's different, though. I think in the offseason, it's totally a legitimate conversation. I don't know that they'll have Brady back no matter how the season ends. I kind of feel like they won't. But short term right now, I don't think it's realistic. If they did it, I'd be shocked. Then again, a loss or two, and, the pressure could get ratcheted up.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the defense because, this is Sean McDermott's specialty. We saw him get a little bit more involved, and all of a sudden it looked like they had things figured out. And then you see Devon Achane, and you've seen other running backs, highly skilled, speedy running backs this season take over, and the Bills just don't have an answer for it, which makes you nervous about what this looks like moving forward. There's a lot of injured guys. How do you diagnose this defense, Jeremy?
I think Sean McDermott is actually doing a fine job with the defense, and I think he's doing his job. Cole Bishop coming to basically at the last minute become like, oh, he can play. He's good. All right, that works. Max Hairston jumping in and looking like he's up for the job, like that works too. I've got a lot of pieces that look okay, and it's also hard to really figure out what I've got. The entire defensive line is constantly rotating. They spent the entire first half of the season rolling out practice squad guys because everybody's hurt. Deion Walker has some flashes. Now we finally see TJ Sanders back. So, while Brandon Beane's catching a lot of flack about receivers, he set out to fix their defense, and yet we kind of can't see it. Michael Hoyt, we got 6 quarters. It looked great.
Yeah.
So I think that the fixing of the defense actually, to me, looks like it might have worked. The problem is we might not actually get a chance to see it this year because of how torn up they are by injuries.
Well, the Taylor Rapp injury, and again, I kind of look at that, all right, that actually didn't turn out to be too bad, right? Because he wasn't playing up to his capability. Where do we come down on Bernard? He's your captain. That doesn't look right. If Shaq Thompson is healthy and ready to go, would you dare bench your captain, Jeremy?
Yeah, I think you have to. You might put Bernard in Milano's spot because I don't know that Milano's playing all that well either. Yeah, I think the long term, once all the linebackers are healthy, has to be that Shaq Thompson has to be on the field somehow. Whether that means they're in base more often, but he has to be on the field. And next year, I think that we'll see how he finishes out the season, but I'll be surprised if job next year. He got extended, and he's a captain, he's a leader. But originally, he was kind of thought to be, when he got drafted, to be the Milano understudy / replacement. And then he got on the field because Tremaine Edmonds, and they didn't really have anybody there, right? So it's Terrell Bernard, is it Tyrell Dodson, and it ends up being Bernard. So I think the long-term plan would be to move him over because he's got a contract. And I know, we get to the draft, we're going to talk receiver a lot. I would absolutely bet they're going to take a linebacker early, right? Yeah. Think about the history. The year they take Josh Allen, they also trade up for Tremaine Edmonds. They identified a guy as a center of the defense piece, and I think they'll do that again.
Jeremy, are you surprised at the production that we've gotten out of Joey Bosa? I for one, he's playing injured. He's not missing time. It seems like he's got an agenda and feels like he wants to extend his career, courtesy of the Buffalo Bills. Talk about the pass rush a little bit.
I think he's been very good. Sacks are tough to come by. Pressures do the job, right? Forced fumbles do the job. In the training camp, I asked the question, would you take 8 sacks and a healthy Bosa in the playoffs? And he's well on his way to that, 8 sacks, and even more than that, in terms of affecting the quarterback. So I'm totally satisfied with what Bosa's given them. I think it's a nice signing. I wonder if they'll approach him about an extension because there's dead money on the deal for next year already, which kind of would lead to an incentive in an extension. So if he gets through healthy and he likes it, maybe an extension.
So brings us to Tampa Bay, but I'll go big picture here because if the Bills can pile up enough wins, maybe they get into the postseason. Maybe they don't get the division. Maybe this looks a little different this year with the Bills having to go on the road. But Jeremy, who is actually good in the AFC right now? If there's one year you're going to be a wild card, maybe this is the one.
No. Who's good? The Colts are good. Then there's who could actually match up against the Bills and make the Bills look bad. The Colts could, and they run the ball really well. And I don't think the Bills' run defense problems are going away. Colts are good. I think the Chargers are good. I think the Patriots are kind of good, dangerous at least, every bit as dangerous as can't they be the 2020 Bills? Why can't they be the 2020 or 2021 Bills? Right, where they hit it at the end and their quarterback is really on an ascent and they go a little too far. Right, they get the AFC Championship game a little ahead of schedule. Can they be the Burrow Bengals, who same thing, got out there a little too far, a little too early? So I think they could be good enough to do it. And I think the Bills still have a shot to win the AFC. So I'm not writing them off, but the road is certainly, a lot gloomier than it was. And the actual road to get there might mean going on the road and winning the first road playoff game in the Sean McDermott era.
And I would imagine that would make some of these teams, if you're Denver, if you're Indy, a little bit nervous. You don't really want to face the Buffalo Bills, I think, in any instance if they're coming in as a wild card team.
Right. Yeah, I don't have much thought about Denver. I think their offense is really in trouble. Their defense could be good, could be dangerous, but there are a bunch of teams like the Steelers that are just not a legitimate contender. The Steelers are not to be taken seriously. The Ravens probably are. Ravens get healthy, and they've got everything they need, so they'd be in there as well.
Jeremy, last one, and here we have a team in Rochester. They're called the Amerks. They keep us entertained. We really aren't talking all that much Sabres hockey here, for good reason here. This isn't going to go Buffalo's way this year, right? This is another year, log down on the fire here, the drought.
Yeah, I think
lost Jeremy.
I think we lost Jeremy there at the end.
We lost Jeremy at the end.
You know, even the gods are telling us don't talk about it.
The Sabres.
Don't talk about it.
That's right, Gene.
The gods are telling you that conversation's over as soon as you want to start talking S word here in the sports bar.
You know what? We'll just thank Jeremy.
Yeah.
I'll text him.
No, you know what, man? Jeremy is great. Really appreciate him making some time. And you can hear him again tomorrow morning in the Odyssey app on our Odyssey Sports sister station, WGR. In Buffalo, his breakdown of, the offense and the statistical output of the offense versus how many points they're actually scoring per drive and the efficiency of teams in the NFL is certainly something to chew on, because your eyes tell you, it doesn't look right. And then you look at the stats, you're like, well, the stats are pretty good. And it is the Bills beating up on inferior opponents, kind of padding the stats, and then against good teams that are also going to equal their efficiency, it doesn't look exactly the same way.
Well, and Jeremy's great with the analogies, right? So I'm going to attempt to make an analogy, and you call Josh Allen the Ferrari, right? Well, if you own one of those sort of cars, right, you're driving at different styles, right? You're going to go, and it's a nice sunny day, late Saturday afternoon, just kind of driving through the neighborhood nice and slow and looking out. And then maybe there's another time where there's an open highway, and I just want to put my foot on the pedal.
Sure.
And where is that part for this Bills offense?
Right. Maybe you're waiting for a piece. Maybe you're waiting for a Josh Palmer to return where you can open it up a little bit. You saw that first play in Atlanta where it's like, okay, that's what we kind of come to expect. I also, and I know a lot is being made of Josh Allen's body language, and he's got his grandma telling him to smile and the whole thing. It's like, I know we all know he's a competitor. I'm okay with the dark side coming out a little bit on the sideline. If it doesn't go, if Keon loafs on a play, and we saw him loaf on a play on Sunday, I want Josh Allen to be the guy lighting him up. Come on. This is it. This is us. This is us trying to win a football game. All the great ones, you've seen them through the years, to different degrees, but specifically Brady and Manning are the two that pop into my mind because they were doing it for as long as they did it, and they didn't hide. They didn't save those conversations for behind closed doors. They did it in the moment to fire their guys up. And hearing Diggs holding Travion Henderson accountable and firing him up in a way that you just don't know if that's happening with the Bills. You don't know who that person is with the Bills. I just want to see it. I just want to see Allen unleash a little dark side, be a little mattable, and get after his guys a little bit when they aren't playing at the level he is. Because I do think there is something to what he said in the Baltimore game with Shakir saying, oh, yeah, Josh will just pick us up in the second half. If you're all in awe of your star quarterback and you're not holding your weight, at some point the star quarterback needs to get pissed off and say, guys, you with me or not? What are we doing?
Well, let me throw you a radical idea. Why not just you're Joe Brady, you're Sean McDermott, just devise a game plan. You're going just to make Josh the star, and we're going to say, F it, we're going to throw. And we're going to throw and throw and throw and throw and throw until we snap ourselves out of this. Like, big picture, you're like, we're doing
could throw some more interceptions that way too, Gino, which I think is, the head coach.
That's part of the problem is that the damn complimentary football, and we can't be giving away possessions like this when our defense can't tackle.
It's true. It's absolutely true. It's a fine line. And, the Bills need to continue to kind of walk that fine line. They don't have a choice. Their defense can't stop the run. You can't give up extra possessions. You need to steal a possession or two. You need to win the turnover battle. And that's a lot of NFL teams, by the way.
I will point this out, though. Josh had this kind of signature moment called the double spike, all right? He was having fun. Why? Because they beat Kansas City. Okay, then why weren't they ready to go? We can say it's Allen and being mattable. I'm sorry. Like the guy, and you hear this from Andy Reid, and who did I hear this from? I heard it from LaFleur. It should be the first words out of McDermott's mouth. It starts with me. He didn't have his guys ready to go in that game. Funny how you had him ready to go in Kansas City, like, hey, we need this one, boys. Great. We beat the Chiefs. And now you can't take it. That team sucks in Miami. I'm sorry for the vernacular, but that's a bad football team they lost to.
Yeah, and you're right. He should be the one saying it starts with me. I didn't hear the post-game press conference. I didn't have a chance to. But if that isn't being said by the head coach after a loss like that.
The 13-second game I still can't get over to this day. And then you have McDermott, on the Tuesday press conference saying it's an execution problem. Like, oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah. Happy hour is on the way next. Lots to unpack from our conversation with Jeremy White. We'll do more Bills and Bucks talk. We'll take your calls as well at 866-4326. Pull up a stool, 585-866-4FAN.
Online and in the Odyssey app at The Fan Rochester. The sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan Rochester. An Odyssey sports station. The Fan Rochester. Sports update.
Some good news, bad news on the Bills' injury front. The good news, A.J. Epineza practicing fully today. Still looking to clear the concussion protocol. Also practicing fully today was Josh Palmer. 8 guys in total limited, including Christian Benford. Head coach Sean McDermott on the practice squad signing of Miko Hardman.
Yeah, excited about that. It's, you look at position flexibility. He brings some of that, and the speed element is real. Having gone against him, and so he hasn't played in a little bit of time here, so we got to take it one day at a time, albeit. But I'm really interested in seeing how he's going to help us.
Bills and Buccaneers, our coverage on Sunday will begin at 9 a.m. Hockey tonight in the Flower City. The Amerks hosting Belleville. Don Stevens, Andrew Mossbrooks will have your call at 7. 9 o'clock tonight for the coverage on WCMF, the Sabres in Utah. Gene Battaglin, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan Rochester.
It's time to start the show and talk about the sports we saw. Inside jokes and takes from Danger and Battaglia. Bills and the Sabres and the Amerks. Who gave a microphone to these jerks? Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. With Danger and Battaglia.
It is happy hour. Welcome back into the sports bar with Danger and Battaglia. Glad you're with us at 95.7 FM, AM 950. Thanks for listening. If you're mobile on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps, if you're stationary and you're watching us on YouTube, we appreciate that as well. Our channel, The Fan Rochester. We also stream on Twitch. Before we get to the big stories of the day and your calls at 866-4326, can we do a little bit of housekeeping here on social, including X, where you can find us at The Fan Rochester. One of our regulars, Jack, not a real name. Gene, I'm with you. I'd like to see Bill Belichick as the next Giants coach. Could you imagine Jordan Hudson in the Big Apple?
Jack, actually, in the tweet, we should say, bro, boing. So.
Oh, no, that was implied. That's why the sound effect played.
Oh, okay.
Also, one of our regulars in South Central Kentucky, our barfly of the sports bar, that's Chris. Why is Jackson Dart being evaluated 4 times for concussions in 7 games? Who's the independent neurologist that the Giants have?
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Dr. Nick.
Got his coach fired.
Is Dr. Nick the best minor character on The Simpsons?
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Dr. Nick.
That's pretty good.
That does not burn out. Also an RSVP from John, who is going to be attending tomorrow. The missus and I looking forward to joining you for some smooth beers and sports talk at Three Heads.
Love hearing that. Yes, John is ahead of the curve. We invite you to join us tomorrow afternoon from 3 until 6. We will be live at Three Heads Brewing on Atlantic Avenue in the neighborhood of the Arts. It is the Nighthawk Hazy IPA kickoff party. And, man, what an honor and treat to be a part of this action as Three Heads re-releasing the Nighthawk Hazy IPA.
And it's time to celebrate the Nighthawks as they'll open the season in December in San Diego. They've already played some preseason games.
Yeah.
So if you're a Nighthawk fan, players are going to be there. We'll be talking to a few of them in the show tomorrow. Also on the show tomorrow by phone, Andy Behrens from the Deep Shot, where one of the questions would be like, okay, if you own somehow, which I do, 3 Tampa Bay running backs, who are you playing against Buffalo? Because the Bills' run defense, sure, I would say, yeah. Do we trust Bucky Irving or what about Sean Tucker?
Yeah,
coming back to New York State.
Been kind of quiet for Sean Tucker this year. Had one big game last year that he just kind of faded back into obscurity there. We're going to do that tomorrow afternoon. By the way, the Nighthawks, you mentioned at their preseason. 1-1 so far. They wrap up the exhibition schedule a week from Saturday against Ottawa, and they will open their season, as you mentioned, Gino, in the middle of December 14th in San Diego. Home opener coming up December 20th. So a good time to celebrate the Rochester Nighthawks back. New ownership. We'll be hanging out with some of the players. GM and President Dan Carey will be on hand as well, and we'll all be enjoying the delicious Nighthawks Hazy IPA. That's tomorrow. And then we don't stop. We keep it going.
Mm-hmm.
We go back on the road Friday, and we go to our home away from home at Remedy inside of Finger Lakes Gaming and Racetrack, where the food is incredible. The action is intense. You have over 1,100 video gaming machines. You have a massive screen, a great place to watch a game, and a great place to hang out with us Friday afternoon from 3 until 6, Remedy inside Finger Lakes Gaming and Racetrack.
On Sunday, I had forgotten about this for the Bills, this matchup against Tampa. Little hot uniform talk. It's throwback weekend in Buffalo, so the standing Buffalo helmet coming back out, and you're going back to the AFL road uniforms. So that means the white jerseys, the white pants, so it will be Tampa.
We saw that against Atlanta earlier this year.
That's right.
Yeah. Didn't go well in Atlanta. Let's hope for a better outcome at home.
But Atlanta went throwback. Tampa Bay is not going throwback.
Yeah.
If you're hoping to get the creamsicles, that's not going to happen.
That's fine. I mean, I don't know you can get better than the creamsicles against the Seahawks throwbacks that we saw earlier this year. That is the uniform matchup of the season.
That ends everything.
Yeah, I don't think you can top that. You can't even try. So there you go. There's your schedule. We will be out and about the next couple of days in the sports bar. Looking forward to seeing you, hanging out, and chatting.
We can share a cold one and maybe a win or two.
Now on to the Buffalo Bills, where today we learned that A.J. Epineza was back at practice. We learned that Christian Benford and Taron Johnson were limited today. A handful of players limited today. Joey Bosa, Cam Lewis, Khalil Shakir, Shaq Thompson, Dorian Williams, and Dalton Kincaid not practicing for the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, Dalton Kincaid week to week, so we're figuring he's out. They're not going to say that. 8 guys in all. The Bernard one's interesting to me. The ankle injury popping up. Is this something? But again, I don't know to what degree Shaq Thompson is ready to come back to work. So that's a little concerning when you have 3 linebackers all limited, and the one guy who was full go, Matt Milano. At this point, he's put together by duct tape, I would say. Cam Lewis limited, Taron Johnson limited. So there's a lot of injury fog coming out of Buffalo. I would say the positive, getting Palmer back fully. And we talked to Jeremy White last hour, and when we talked about, all right, you're not trading for anybody. There's no magic solution here. What would be the solution? And he says it's probably just as simple as getting Palmer back and getting Gabe Davis in there. We don't know about Davis yet, but if Palmer's practicing fully today, and assuming there's no setbacks, all right, you get number 5 back on the field.
Yeah, but isn't that scary to think that if you had those 2 guys healthy and on the outside, that's the best wide receiver duo that you would have, the best tandem that you would have on the outside this season?
I'm surprised they don't have a plan B or C or D at the wide receiver position.
Has Coleman been mismanaged, misidentified? It's going to go down as just such a massive disappointment if it continues on the trajectory that it's on. It's maddening.
Well, there's been clues all along. I mean, you go back to the Jacksonville game, the suspensions, the fact that we
go back to the draft when they selected him. We all said big slot. Guy's a big slot.
Well, I'm just saying, though, the way that McDermott, they put a really tight leash on him.
Sure.
Meaning, come to Buffalo, you can be yourself.
Yeah.
Except you, Keon. You're not going on Hard Knocks, and you're suspended in the Jacksonville game, and there was another game, the New England game, where you're not going to start the game either because whatever. What's the real story there? And credit the Bills, they're not, they don't want any gossip getting out there, but, my sense is it hasn't worked to just yet. It's not saying that it can't. Matt Perino brought up the point yesterday, though. If Coleman, because he's coming free on the Knox interception, if he catches that, okay. If you come back and you beat Miami and Keon Coleman has 2 touchdowns, then we're thinking everything's fixed.
Sure. And that's the what-if game that I love. It's the alternate reality game that you can play with yourself on pretty much any given Sunday. You can play that game. What if this call goes that way or that way? I just think, when the guy's loafing on a play and he's not giving 100% effort, somebody needs to light him up. And one of the other points that we brought up with Jeremy, because they talked about it on his show, on GR, there isn't a player a leader on the sideline who holds guys accountable the way Diggs did. And I know that Diggs is polarizing, and I know it wasn't always great, and the antics were a lot to deal with. But also, for some guys, exactly what they needed, the fire that they needed to elevate their game. And I don't know that you have that right now with the Buffalo Bills. So, going to be an interesting game on Sunday. I know it doesn't carry the weight because it's not a rivalry. It's out of conference. But both of these teams need it. They both need it.
It's funny. Like Tampa's 6-3, and we'll talk to Scott Reynolds from the Pewter Report, a good friend of the show on Friday. It's just like, it doesn't look quite right.
It doesn't look the same as it looked earlier this season.
No, and the idea that entering that Patriot game, they were dead last in offensive third down conversions. Like that's one where, like, okay, we have this image of this Tampa offense, and there's Mike Edwards and Godwin.
Why do we have that image, though?
Buka.
Maybe it's because we have guys like Sean McDermott. Guys like Sean McDermott who just can't help himself when it comes to heaping praise on his opponent.
I want to say this set the record. Now, everybody I have to recuse myself because I know the number of lies in this clip. But if you want to play along, set your own over-under. What's the topic again? It's on Baker Mayfield.
This is Baker Mayfield. It's Sean McDermott going on for over a minute. And you'll have to excuse the audio. There's a question in there wedged in the middle there about Baker Mayfield to Sean McDermott. But Sean McDermott felt like he really went above and beyond in heaping praise on Baker Mayfield. It's time for McDermott McLies during happy hour in the sports bar.
Very impressed, and happy for him. He's a heck of a player. It was kind of hard to watch when, the first situation unfolded the way it did because you just have so much respect for him and his level of play and what he's capable of. And it's a great, to me, example of, I don't know everything, but just how the journey is the journey. And when you stick with it and you kind of get yourself in the right spot and how he's played and his impact then, I'm sure, in terms of the example that he is even beyond the playing field. Right, as a person, I hear stories about his faith and super impressed by that, and that's what you want to see, right? That's what you want to hear, and that's good for our league, and it's good for, I'm sure, the community down there as well.
What makes him so impactful? I'm not trying to compare him. I'm not sure if you can compare him to what Josh does, but what makes him so impactful versus what Josh does, I guess?
Yeah, no, I don't want to get into the comparisons. That's not fair to either of those guys. Both are great players. It's going to be a heck of a game Sunday, and you got two good teams and two great quarterbacks. So we have a ton of respect for their team, their coaching staff, Baker in this case, and it's a tough deal. So we got to prepare here.
Maybe a bonus ding in there. Wow.
Is part of it? See, the alternate reality game, like. Okay, we're all led to believe that, Josh is our guy and we're going to trade up. Going into that, were they selling themselves on Baker Mayfield coming to Buffalo that draft? We don't ever explore that. It was never on the table, of course.
Well, if you remember that year, everything was on the table. Nobody really knew. There wasn't a consensus number.
Until Cleveland said, okay, you're our
right. And it really came down to that. We didn't know up until like the day before that, Cleveland's going to take Baker. Wow, that was kind of stunning because you had options. Darnold was certainly somebody that everybody was looking at. We were talking a lot of Josh Rosen. Could you imagine? Josh Rosen is not even in the league anymore, doesn't play anymore. And everybody kind of got their guy, including at the end of the first round, the guy that's won more MVPs than everybody else that was taken in that 2018 draft in Lamar. So I think it worked out for everybody, including Baker. I still would love to know what led to his dismissal in Cleveland. What was it that didn't work for Baker Mayfield in Cleveland? I'm sure Browns fans.
He was hurt. Danger. I think it's that simple. He was playing hurt, not injured, but because he was such a gamer, it didn't look right. That's really what it was. And the assumption from the dumb owner there saying, this guy isn't it. Let me go get Deshaun Watson, guy.
Well, and Paul Podesta being let go is like silently under the radar. That was last week, right? And when he's asked about the Deshaun Watson thing, he kind of, his quote is like, well, we kind of all have to own that. Like, yeah, they whiffed.
Oh, isn't that funny? Like
they whiffed.
Dave Podesta, if you're not familiar with his story, tell me, like, it tells the Browns, right? He is the Jonah Hill character in the Moneyball movie with the A's.
He's the analytics guy.
Yeah, he's the analytics guy. Doesn't look anything like that, but regardless, he gets hired in football. Okay, like that's quite a jump. He's now going to the Rockies. Congratulations, going from the Browns to the Rockies. You deserve that.
Well, look, I like Baker. I do like Baker, and
he's fun.
He's fun. He's fiery. He's a competitor. He's a guy that when you watch that team play, you just know everybody's playing for that guy.
Think about this. You're in Cleveland. You had the guy. He's doing national TV commercials. And not that should be the barometer of he's a good quarterback or not, but the book club, he's living in the stadium.
Yeah,
Remember
it was
that
fun.
whole series? He's fun. And you got rid of him after 1 year. He
After one bad year.
When he was playing hurt.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. And to boot, Carolina, you had a gift you didn't even realize you had it either.
Right. And, he found a way to get his opportunity, and he's cashed in and made the most of that opportunity. I mean, you remember the backup game when he was with the Rams. Remember, there was one game, that was the game that he basically, with the Rams showed, yeah, he could still play.
But the thing about that, if I remember, he showed up. It was a Thursday night game. They picked him up. He had like 2 days of work.
That's
and he
right.
won the game.
That's right. And I think to myself, again, if we play the alternate reality game, there had to have been a conversation. They're like, hey, kid, we like you here in L.A. We could certainly use you when Stafford retires, but he's our guy, and he's going to be our guy for the next few years. Go start somewhere. And the Bucs were able to.
I think it was like a dirt cheap contract, like 1 year, $7 million.
Everybody was out. Everybody, even after he had the performance he had for the Rams, that one performance saved his career. Well, we'll see. This is a banged-up Bucs team coming in. We're going to learn more about them on Friday, as you mentioned. Scott Reynolds from Pewter Report will join us, and we'll get everything from the Tampa Bay side of things in advance of Sunday's kickoff.
Morgan Fox is the newest player on the Buffalo Bills. Who is he? He signed a 2-year, $8 million deal with the Falcons, defensive end, and he got cut. This is this past August.
Yeah.
And then nobody picked him up at that point. To me, this feels like, all right, we need to find kind of the next Michael Hoyt, if you will, a Division II player who played special teams at the Rams.
Did he wrestle? Tell me he wrestled. I bet you he wrestled. Sean McDermott on Morgan Fox.
Yeah, veteran player. Excited to watch him today. It's been a little bit of time, since he's played as well, so we got to take our time with that. But, position flexibility, plays hard. But I'm interested in watching him today as well.
Didn't mention wrestling.
I can't find anything.
Position flexibility, though, that's always a big thing.
No, but like Colorado State Pueblo.
No.
Not Colorado State, the Rams. This is Colorado State Pueblo he played as well.
Okay. All right, so he's always had his back against the wall. He's always played the role of underdog. He's got a chip on his shoulder.
Fits right into the culture.
He's absolutely a McDermott guy. All right, so Morgan Fox will get out on the field at some point here before the end of the season. We'll be looking for that. And the Mecole Hardman news, from this week as well, is like, okay, well, let's see. I mean, are we going to see him at some point? I wouldn't be shocked, given everything that's happened with this the criticism, the idea that Brandon Beane was trying to swing for a big deal at wide receiver. You don't have that, and you need that. Somebody that can stretch the field. Hardman can still do that. I want to believe he still has the speed.
Well, the only thing they saw today was he was working in return game, punt return, everything, which leads me to wonder, why is Brandon Codrington on this team?
Well, maybe that's if at minimum he's an upgrade over Codrington. So we can agree on that, right?
Right. And then so Codrington, okay, thank you for your time here.
That's right.
Yeah.
So a couple of interesting moves, and the Bills looking to round it out here as they get ready for Tampa Bay. You'll be able to hear the action on the Fan Rochester. Kickoff, of course, at 1 o'clock, and pregame coverage gets underway at 9.
Can I give you the most interesting move in the NFL today?
Please.
Jameis Winston is back. He is quarterbacking the New York Football Giants. I want them to beat Green Bay. I thought there are two people here in the studio now that beat Green Bay.
Talk to me. I'm rooting for Jameis this weekend.
How did they not go to him? Russell Wilson has nothing. You could see that. And how many times did Jackson Dart get dinged this year? A bunch of times. And every time, including this past Sunday, well, let's bring out Russell Wilson. Really? Jameis Winston, he may drive you crazy, but he has more talent in this league now.
I think at minimum it's going to be fun. He might throw 5 interceptions against the Packers. I mean, he might be exactly what the Packers defense wants to see on Sunday, but I think he gives you a better chance to win than Russell Wilson. There's no question in my mind. And seeing it firsthand with my own eyes, just how slow and statuesque Russell Wilson is. He can't throw. He can't move. He can't evade. He's not the quarterback that we remember from all those years in Seattle. He hasn't been for some time. It's over. I imagine in the Russell bubble, in Russell Wilson's vacuum, that everybody believes he's still the guy. He could still be Mr. Unlimited. He's not, man. He needs to hang it up.
Well, he's going to be the football version of Willie Mays around center field, tripping over himself. I've never seen that. We're not that old, Danger, but Russell Wilson is never going to be a starter in this league anymore. Bill Ryder had a take today, no, not only is he never going to be a starter, he should retire.
I agree. I think it's a great take. I absolutely agree. What are you bringing to the table? And I don't know what Mike Kafka, what kind of influence he had on Daboll when they were working together, but now that he's the interim guy for the rest of the season, I mean, that's a move that makes sense. I still go back to that Giants-Chiefs game from earlier this year, and all I thought to myself was at halftime when Russell Wilson was playing as poorly as he did, throwing interceptions in the first half of that game, why are you not going to the kid? And it was at that moment when Wilson came back out in the second half, Daboll's going to lose his job because of his loyalty to this guy.
I was thinking the same thing, and the Chiefs are farting around. That game was there to be had. The Giants at that point are 0-2. Here you are with a chance to steal this game because Kansas City can't get it together. Well, they did get it together eventually, but Wilson was bad in the second half as well. I'm thinking at that point, I'm like, whoa, they must really not trust Jackson Dart. Except the next week they went to Jackson
But
Dart.
also you have Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
You also have Jameis Winston. If you don't trust the kid because it's week 3 and you're playing the defending AFC champions, fine. Jameis Winston has some experience in this league too. Yes, he could be a liability. He could be a little careless. I don't know. I think it's going to be great. I can't wait to see Jameis back on the field. If anything, we get great quotes. We get a guy who's got just energy and character. And the NFL is better when you have characters like Jameis Winston in the spotlight. I'm a big fan of it. I can't wait for it. And I hope they get the win.
Well, hey, look, we need some other entertainment because guess what? Tomorrow night, Patriots, Jets, your survivor pick. Okay,
survivor pick, man. We want
to
to go into the weekend stress-free. We wake up on Friday knowing we got a W and we're on to week 12.
Raiders, Cowboys might be entertaining because certainly Dallas can't play defense.
No defense.
So, maybe we get Ashton Genty running all over the place.
Lots of points,
That's
lots
your
of
Monday
fantasy.
night game.
Yep.
You've got Philadelphia and Detroit as your Sunday night game. And, okay, there's A.J. Brown today going on Twitch or whatever it was, just making little passive-aggressive comments. And
I'm benching him.
Oh, that's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. He said, if you have me in fantasy, you might as well bet. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I'm going to. I am benching you. I've had enough. I've had enough of this roller coaster ride. My emotions are shot.
When we have the expert himself, Andy Behrens, tomorrow.
Well, I'm going to ask him. I'll ask Andy because, this has been something. If you invested in A.J. Brown, if you invested in the Eagles offense, Saquon Barkley, you're wondering, are we going to get a return? These were all guys. What's wrong with this offense? That's an offense that still doesn't look right either. And yet you could say, because they are the best team right now in the NFC, okay, it's wide open, man. And even a team like the Bills at 6-3 looking as bad as they looked, I am not going to tell you that the window is shut, that they can't win a championship with this roster. I can't tell you that. It's too wide open right now. Nobody's separating.
there is something going on in Vegas. It's the owners' meetings there, Danger, and it's the quasi-beginning to free agency. And, the Yankees have a couple. They have Grisham. They certainly have Bellinger. The Mets, okay, they've got Pete Alonso hitting the open market. Now, here's my position on Alonso. I would certainly welcome him back at the same thing, but if you're asking 5 years money, what are we doing? The guy can't field as well as he should. But don't tell that to Scott Boras. So Scott Boras, the one agent who holds his own press conference and invites all the writers. And I'm sure that there's probably an open bar and a nice spread there that all the writers can load up on.
I just wish this guy would learn how to shamelessly overhype his clients because, as long as he's been a sports agent, he just downplays all of his clients, doesn't hype them up at all. I mean, this is the same Scott Boras that in 2018 mentioned about his client Bryce Harper. And this is one of my favorites. Certainly, Harper's Bazaar has begun. It's fashionable. It's historical. It's elite. Global, certainly. And certainly, it has inspirations that deal with great shoes and great hair. That's November 7th, 2018.
All right. I'm going to give you
7 years later.
Yeah, November 12th, 2025. Scott Boras on his client, Pete Alonso. There's no doubt Pete's pursuers are primed to pay the power piper. Pete picked a perfect period to play preeminently at a primary position. A playoff parched plethora will pounce to participate in the polar plunge.
Damn, that's good. Damn, that's good. He is very good at his job. You might not like that guy because he's a sleazy agent. He is very good at being a sleazy agent.
To read that? That is a tongue twister. And how many times did he rehearse that?
I love me some alliteration. That is awesome. I love that so much. I think that's better than Harper's Bazaar. Harper's Bazaar is kind of like, okay, you're hyping him up and you're talking about great shoes and great hair. You're a weirdo. But this one is creative. I'm sure he delivered it with just flair and pizzazz. For Pete Alonso, some team is going to overpay for Pete Alonso.
Pete Alonso is an angel
because Scott Boras. Yep. Oh, he can go to L.A. and play with that other guy that doesn't win anything. I mean, he's great. Don't get me wrong.
No, he's not great anymore. Mike Trout, he can't even bat 200.
A Hall of Famer. He's going to be a Hall of Famer, right? Even though he didn't win anything, he's not a winner.
When he goes to Cooperstown, you and I need to hold up signs.
Let's do it, man.
Down there, not a winner.
Road trip. We will troll Mike Trout.
Compiler.
Yeah. Not a winner.
Like everybody else. Oh, you're my favorite player. Yay.
Not us. He just does it the right way. Doesn't he do it the right way? He's the guy that everybody he just does it the right way. Yeah, he does it the right way.
Have you ever gone to a Hall of Fame induction?
No.
I have. I went to one, and this is when they used to do it right on the steps of the Hall of Fame. And it was Joe Gibbs and Charlie, and a bunch of Washington fans showed up. But these are fans that are just like, oh, I love you.
Yeah.
I can't do anything. Like, does Mike Trout have those fans? Are there Angel fans that would actually go out there?
Yeah.
Could we represent? I think that'd be hilarious. Just be the one like you don't belong here.
Stat compiler, not a winner, took the money, disappeared. Funny. We got to get to a round of shots.
Yes, we will have more baseball. We've got the Sabres here tonight. Why did Don Manley leave the Blue Jays? We got the story here. Pretty good explanation, too, here. Maybe if we could find the audio of this could be a take of the year.
Ooh.
I mean, this is one for baseball. Like, oh, that's really there. And I'm going to make my appeal. Should I still win the box of wine if this comes true, albeit a little late?
So holding on to a dream. Gene Battaglia over there, ready to dish up a round of shots. We'll also get the last call. You can join us at 866-4326 and have the final word in the sports bar at 585-866-4FAN.
Rochester. The Fan Rochester Sports Update.
Good news on the Bills receiving front. Josh Palmer back at practice, practicing fully today. A.J. Epineza also practicing fully as he looks to clear the concussion protocol. Christian Benford amongst the 8 players that were limited today. Bills and Buccaneers, our coverage Sunday will begin at 9 a.m. here on The Fan. Tonight, it's the Amherst as they're hosting Belleville. Head coach Mike Leomi more focused on his own team than the opponent.
I think when we skate and we pressure the puck and we're on our toes and we're direct with our game, and we have the ability to be a really good forechecking team, how we skate. And I thought the guys did a really good job, so excited to see that hopefully translates to the game tonight.
Coverage begins at 7 here on The Fan with Don Stevens and Andrew Mossbrook. Sabres tonight in Salt Lake City, 9 o'clock for the coverage on WCMF. Gene Battaglin, the sports leader, The Fan Rochester.
Got a smart speaker at home? Listen to the sports leader, The Fan Rochester at home, by asking it to play 95.7 The Fan.
Happy Hour continues in the sports bar with Danger and Battaglia. Glad you're with us. Thanks for listening along. It's time for a round of shots.
Danger, could I interest you in another Scott Boras quote?
Oh yeah,
Right.
I'm drunk on Boras quotes. I think the guy is great. He's such a weirdo with how he positions and overhypes his clients. It's poetry. It's awesome.
So there's a question in Detroit. Are they going to trade Skubal, who will be a free agent next year, or pay him? And mind you, kind of complicating things, are we going to have a season in 2027? I mean, this is not a simple answer for the Tigers. You would think pay the guy, but then pitchers break. It's a complicated thing. Well, Scott Boras, you ask him.
Lay it out, Scott. What do we got?
This is Scott Boras. The fans in Detroit want the Tigers to build a Tarek Barak. The Little Caesars are running around saying, sigh, it should be Scooby Dunn, right? If not, I think the fans would certainly think it's a Detroit doink.
What the hell is he talking about?
Why'd you go?
I get the Little Caesars reference.
Yeah.
Scooby Dunn. Is Scooby Doo from Detroit? I don't know. What is that?
Yeah, I don't know why we're invoking Scooby Doo and Detroit doink.
Detroit doink. I mean, again, alliteration. He did a great job with Pete Alonso. Maybe that one wasn't as rehearsed as the Pete Alonso take.
He's Dr. Seuss.
It's amazing. He is. He is Dr. Seuss of the sports world. That is another all-timer. The guy just doesn't miss. Scooby Dunn? What is he talking? Detroit doink? What does that even mean?
Is Scooby Doo from Detroit?
I don't know where that comes from. Like, well, look, is it a nickname? Do they call him Scoop? Maybe they call him, it's Scooble. Scooby Dunn. I got it. Scooble Dunn, Scooby. Maybe that's his nickname.
I don't know.
Maybe they call him
According to
Scooby.
AI, Scooby-Doo is associated with Detroit through a temporary exhibit in the Henry Ford Museum.
Okay. But he's probably also got the nickname of Scoob, right?
Yeah.
That's
okay.
That's fantastic.
There we go.
That's fantastic.
Coming up at 6 o'clock, it's the baseball writers bestowing on us who shall win the Cy Young Award.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Scooble for the Tigers, you would figure.
Scoob.
Hunter Brown, the Astros, Garrett Crochet, the other finalists in the American League. From the NL, Paul Skeens of the Pirates, Yoshinobu Yamamoto of the Dodgers, and Christopher Sanchez of the Phillies. In the NL, here's hoping Skeens wins it just so Pirate fans have something before he becomes a Yankee.
Nah, it's too late. I mean, like, they should have dealt him already. He's just like expired milk in the fridge. You know, you're not going to get the kind of value you're going to get. I mean, you can win the Cy Young, and you're Pittsburgh. You're not going to get what you actually want for Skeens down the road.
So why did Don Mattingly leave as the bench coach of the Blue Jays? By all indications, he's heading to Philadelphia, where he'll serve in the same role. Why a lateral move? 2 reasons. 1, Mattingly is good friends with current Phillies manager Rob Thompson. This dates all the way back to their days in the Yankee system. 2, the GM of the Phillies, I did not know this, Preston Mattingly, Don Mattingly's son.
Oh, so this is like reverse nepotism.
Reverse nepotism.
Yeah. Well, hey, I mean, Mattingly making it to the World Series was That was a shocker to me. Like, wait, this is the first time that he's been in a World Series? I still can't get that stat out of my brain.
When he left the Jays, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, he's getting through back channels that if Aaron Boone gets off to a slow start, maybe to me, it's a crime that Mattingly hasn't managed the Yankees yet.
Right.
He's managed the freaking Marlins before the Yankees.
Yeah. Is he done as a manager? Is he getting another chance as a manager?
He should. I would think. I'm not going to hold the Marlins against him. And when he was with the Dodgers, that's before the current ownership just bestowed all this money. Former Angels, Cubs, and Rays manager Joe Madden has a take.
I like this guy. Go ahead.
He says that the San Francisco Giants hiring a manager, Tony Vitello, is insulting.
Hey, watch your mouth, Madden.
Quote, I'm using the word insulting only from the perspective that it appears as though you don't have to have any kind of experience on a professional level to do this job anymore.
Hey.
Tony Vitello built Tennessee into a college baseball power, becoming the first manager to make that jump to the majors.
Watch your mouth, Madden. You know what I'm dealing with over here? I'm the manager of the San Francisco Giants because I'm Italian. It almost sounds as if Madden interviewed for that job and didn't get it.
That sounds like a lot of sour grapes, right?
And you're Joe Madden. You don't have to be upset. You've won, man. Yeah, enjoy your time. Drink your wine and be,
Doesn't he own a restaurant in Chicago?
The guy is he's cool. He's just a cool guy. He doesn't need baseball. You won. You never have to worry about anything in Chicago ever again. You won.
But why would you kind of wish this on somebody else, though?
Well, is this Joe Madden taking a step into the takeosphere, trying to find the next chapter of his career? Is his next chapter as a takesman? Is he a MLB takesman? Does he end up on MLB Network? Does he end up being a studio guy? Is he an upgrade from what some of the studio guys you might have already doing?
This seems like this is the worst part of baseball culture. If, you're going to hire somebody, that's insulting.
Yeah.
It's insulting.
Sounding a little bit like baseball writer. See, he's moving towards media. Moving closer and closer towards being in media. Is he in media? Did he? Am I crazy?
I thought he did something with Fox.
Maybe he did.
Yeah.
I missed that.
Gigs there. Sabres captain Rasmus Dahlin still keeping in shape in Sweden. He's been spotted skating at the rink where the local team plays. If and when he comes back this season, and again, no one really knows, maybe not even Dahlin himself. Sabres tonight in Utah, 9 o'clock on CMF.
If you're a close and attentive listener of the Sports Bar, you heard the sports gods smite Gene Battaglia earlier today.
Yeah.
It was hilarious because you wanted to ask Jeremy White, our guest of the 4 o'clock hour, about the Sabres. And Jeremy had phone issues, and it sounded like he had,
You know what? We should get that back. Did Jeremy White hang up on us?
I don't think he hung up on us.
No, I mean, just in theory. I am not talking about the Sabres.
Well,
bad connection.
that, again, the sports gods, they released their karma, and you dared ask a question about the S word here in the Sports Bar, and our connection to Jeremy was eliminated. It was terminated. So we never got the answer. We don't really know. They're playing tonight in Utah, but listen anyways.
Bradley Beal's season with the LA Clippers is over. He's got a fractured hip. Clippers guard had just signed with the team in the offseason, only played in 6 games this year. Beal has played in the NBA 14 seasons, but hasn't played 60 games in a season since 2020-2021. 12 games in the NBA tonight. Doubleheader on ESPN has Orlando and the Knicks, followed by the Lakers and OKC.
Knicks' first loss of the season at Madison Square Garden tonight. Orlando's Orlando. Or do you think the Knicks can rise up? I mean, from what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing about the Knicks, and Mike Brown offensively, this Knicks team looks pretty good. Haven't lost yet at Madison Square Garden this young season.
Orlando's 5-6. That was kind of the cutesy little
they
darling
were.
peak.
Yeah, I feel like Orlando is good, but maybe they need a little bit of time to warm up. But right now, the Knicks are good. Knicks are fun, even with Tibbs out of the picture. So we'll see. That'll be that's an interesting watch tonight with Orlando coming into Madison Square
Dare I
Garden.
say that's the choice tonight? Like even when the Sabres go on at 9?
I mean, there's always choices, Gino. I mean, I'll be flipping around. Maybe that's the early choice for me, and then, flip between the S word and my Blackhawks tonight. We'll see.
I will say this up front. I don't deserve any box wine for this.
Correct.
I lost this bet.
Yes, you did.
But you know what? If the Giants end up hiring Bill Belichick, I will be right.
Nah.
Remember that.
Nah.
Just 12 months off on the timeline, the 73-year-old coach was asked about the Giants' vacancy, only to say his focus this week is on Wake Forest.
Of course it was. Of course, exactly what you were going to get. My favorite thing about, and I'm sure I'm not the first person to notice this or point it out, my favorite thing about Belichick press conferences is he plays the same role that he's always played. He's just surly, and he doesn't give answers, and he kind of mumbles and grumbles his way through the press conference. And while he's doing it, it's in front of a logo on the mic that says "Unk." And he sounds like Unk. He sounds like old, out-of-touch football coach who has no ability to relate to anybody, maybe even his 24-year-old
I don't know how she old
child bride to be. Yeah, Unk isn't leaving UNC, I don't think. And the Giants' vacancy, I think the NFL has already said, no, we don't want this guy back. So you're going to have to convince 31 other owners if you're the Mara family and you're saying, oh, no, we want Belichick back. How are you going to do that? I don't think you can. I think you're better off either. Well, I mean, right now it's McCarthy. Mike McCarthy is the early favorite to land that job in New York.
Jordan Hudson, 24 years old.
Yeah, and as Jack pointed out, imagine her in the Big Apple. All right. That's shots.
She doesn't want to be living in, where's UNC? Raleigh? No, it's some.
I just call him Unk. Now
Chapel
I just call
Hill,
him.
But
I just call him Unk because every time I see him at a press conference, I see that giant UNC on the mic. The mic flag says Unk. Yep, that sounds like Unk. Tomorrow is a special day in the sports bar. Tomorrow we raise a glass of the newly released Nighthawk Hazy IPA with our friends from Three Heads Brewing on Atlantic Avenue in the neighborhood of the arts. You heard us. We're taking the show live, 3 until 6, Three Heads on Atlantic, and the Nighthawks will be in attendance. We'll have fans, we'll have players, we'll have President and GM Dan Carey on hand. And the Hazy IPA will be flowing from the faucets. It will be glorious. Can't wait to be back at Three Heads tomorrow from 3 to 6.
Let's be honest. You want to start your weekend tomorrow with us tomorrow.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then Friday you can play a little hooky.
Yeah.
Maybe cut out early. Head to Finger Lakes Gaming and Racetrack, where Gino and I will be live inside of Remedy, the sports bar at Finger Lakes Gaming and Racetrack. Over 1,100 video gaming machines, massive screens to watch your favorite action on a football Sunday, prizes, food, entertainment, Finger Lakes Gaming and Racetrack. We will be there live Friday afternoon from 3 until 6 inside of Remedy.
Emmerich's hockey coming up tonight. Belleville is going to be the opponent. Let's see if the team can get a W here before heading on out this weekend. Getting that 2-1 loss at Hershey. Get that out of your system from Sunday.
Jeremy White was great earlier today in the sports bar. Also, Wednesday with PJ Glasser. You want his favorite plays and you want to hear what Jeremy White says about the inefficiencies of the Bills' offense? You can find the sports bar wherever you get your shows. Search out the sports bar on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, your favorite platform, and you'll find all of our guest appearances there. And we'll get to JR Sport Brief next before Emmerich's Hockey here on the Fan Rochester. Have a great night.
You're listening to the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia.